Live on Sky Sport Next. The 2021 Jenny and Holmes New Zealand Track and Field Championships. From the 5th to the 7th of March at Mitre 10 Sports Park, Hawke's Bay. See our world-class stars like Tom Walsh, Dame Valerie Adams, Zoe Hobbs, and more at the last major athletics meet of the summer, the 2021 Jenny and Holmes New Zealand Track and Field Championships, bringing the best to the Bay. Proudly brought to you by Jenny and Holmes, Hastings District Council, Napier City Council, and Aon.
We can't wait to see you
at the 2021 Nationals in the Hawke's Bay.
Welcome back to the Porritt Classic of 2021. This is Porritt Stadium in Hamilton, and you are watching the 1,500 metres for men. And Hayden Sherman, having done a sterling job in the first half of our broadcast here on Sky Sport Next, down trackside, has joined me in the commentary. He's already got the watch. He's looking at the splits and checking everything out. Hayden, great work in the first stanza of our show. We've got another great lot of athletes to come in the second part, including masses of field. But you're watching this race pretty intently. What is it that you're looking for, or is it a who are you looking for?
Yeah, so this race features a lot of our young up-and-comers, so certainly, and a lot of the local boys as well, but one name, well, you can see there Ben Bidwar just on the outside leading things out is Angus Weymouth. I assume that he's been brought into for pacemaking duties. He's gone off at a good clip, so around about 63 seconds. So looking for a lot of these guys to go under that magic sort of sub-4 1,500 metres, which as a junior is a really good target. Obviously, the next target is the sub-4 mile, but they're going to come up to 800 metres here, and we can get it 2:07. So 2:07 for the pacemaker there. Angus out front.
So as they work their way down the back straight, of course, there will also be a permit 1,500 metres for women later on in the evening as well, and that'll feature Camille Buscombe, who's doing bouncing around between 800 and 1,500 just to get a little bit of competition work in. At the moment, as they work their way around the top bend for the penultimate time.
Yeah, so Christopher Dryden, he featured in the 5,000 metres earlier in the day, and this is a gutsy move. He's still got 600 metres to go, and he's really laid the hammer down there. But the boys all lining up behind him, keen to go. Joseph Morgan there, one of the local boys, as I mentioned before, from Hamilton Hawks, always well supported by the Hamilton Hawks Club. Last lap, 2:54. Let's make a little note of that, because a lot of these guys have got a good set of wheels, and let's see what they kicked down in this last 400.
Well, that's a heck of an effort from Chris Dryden, as you say. I think it was about 27 degrees this morning when they raced that 5,000 metres, and he really has gone pretty strongly as they work their way down with 250 metres to go, and they can't seem to get to him just yet.
Yeah, Joseph Morgan just managing to stay on his tail, but this is a phenomenal kick, and we'll see if he's going to be holding on to it, because he's 400 metres deep into this effort, and you can see him grimacing. But Joseph Morgan right on his shoulder.
Well, he's battling as well. You can see the looks on their face. 125 to go as they enter the home straight. Can Dryden hold on? What has Morgan got? They've broken away from the rest. This is just going to be an absolute match race. And at the moment, Dryden is holding on magnificently. He's going to come away and win this. That's a heck of a run, Hayden Sherman.
3:56. That's a great run. So 62-second last lap. A lot of these guys going under 4 minutes for the 1,500. But yes, as you say, 600 metres to go. He was disappointed with his effort this morning in the 5,000. Had to do a lot of work. It wasn't much wind, but he had to do a lot of leading of the pack. But he's come back and done a stormer of the last 600.
Gee, I thought for a minute there he was actually heading straight for the fruit ice creams, which are situated just down there off track, the way he was moving. There's the Queen. Dame Valerie Adams preparing. So that's just before we talk a little bit more, there is Christopher Dryden, now the University of Canterbury. I mean, that was 600-metre kick That is impressive, having run a 5,000 this morning at the back end of a 1,500.
Yeah, and he was saying to me this morning, I can't wait to get back to half marathon training. So he's one of those guys that doesn't mind. He would rather kick early. And for that sort of makeup, you're probably kicking in the first third of the race because you're more of the diesel rather than the Ferrari fuel-injected petrol engine. So, yeah, that looked good, and that'll give him a good confidence boost after a tough 12 and a half laps in the sun this morning.
Well, we see the field there with Tori Peters, the headline act in the women's javelin, and Ben Langton-Burnell, along with the Robb brothers and Bradley Bidwar in the men's javelin. I'll tell you too, William Taylor also went sub 4 minute. Just watching some of these times roll through. Chris Dryden with a 3:55.85. Joe Morgan 3:57.08. William Taylor 3:58.33. That's the top three in that men's 1,500 metres as we turn our attention back to the women's high jump. William Taylor, by the way, with a 3:58 as well. So that is a...
Yeah, good solid times. Wind conditions are perfect, but it's really the heat that would be getting to those boys. This is real sort of Met Service temperatures telling us it's about 27, but I can tell you down in this valley, it's a real heat trap. It feels very, very warm out there. So perfect for these ladies doing the high jump. They will be loving the fact that they don't need to wrap up in a blanket after each jump, but the distance runners will be a bit more grumbly.
There is Tori Peters preparing for the javelin. So that'll be also featuring as well Langton Burnell from the men's side of things as everyone just works through their warm-up. And in terms of the field events for this evening, there's going to be so much good stuff. Yep, I know we've got still 200 metres men's and women to come. We've got a really good 1,500 metres for women. There'll always be relays too, but we can't go past it, Hayden. We're talking. Yes, we've got the javelin. Yes, we've got long jump. But gee, men's and women's shot put, triple jump, and that hammer battle between Lauren Bruce and Julia Radcliffe, it really is a lot of focus on the field, and justifiably so. That's where the rock stars are this evening.
I'd love to have a little countdown to hammer time for tonight.
Well, that's going to be quite good because we're going to get you down there right by the throwing area. We'll get Terry Lomax back up here and as well because, I mean, look, we know all about this wonderful battle that we're seeing in Shoe at the moment between Jack O'Gill and Tom Walsh, and you've seen it during your work at the Classic meets over the last few weeks. I guess one thing that everyone I think it's just creeping up on people as well, is that Dame Valerie Adams isn't having it all her own way in the women's shot put either, is she?
Yeah, absolutely. Madison Weish is creeping up. We know of Madison's skill from the junior ranks, but now finally she's finding her feet in with that senior implement and starting to inch close behind Dame Val. And it's the perfect situation, really, where you've got the established absolute legend and then this opportunity to have a young, promising woman following in her footsteps and you know, giving it to her. So that's good news for Dame Val. It's good news for Madison. It's great for us.
Yeah, and we were talking about this with Terry earlier on. That's what happens, and actually Dame Val is getting ready, just doing some warm-up throws at the moment. That's what happens when you have someone at the very, very top of your sport. She just casually throws one about 18. That looked very, very easy.
It did.
But that's what happens when you have someone at the top of their sport. And Tom Walsh has spoken about wanting to emulate what Dame Val has done, and we see it with the likes of. We could go all the way back to what, Peter Snell. You could take it all the way back to the Lovelock. When you have those people, they want to be. Young people want to aspire to try and emulate them, and there's a lovely flow-on effect at the moment, and you have seen it better than most, having been around all these classic meetings as well. It's flowing right the way through the age groups, all the way. We've still got some very good athletes closing in on 30, even sometimes the other side of 30, and they're still putting in some really good performances as well.
Yeah, and it's going right throughout the throws. Obviously, the shot put has been the event to watch as far as the throws in New Zealand. But like we said before, Lauren and Julia and Nicole Bradley just behind those two in the hammer. Connor Bell is the big name that everyone needs to note down in the discus. He did a New Zealand resident record not so long ago at the Potts Classic. So keep an eye out for that that young man, I think he's only 19, he's barely allowed to throw the senior implement, and he's dropping bombs already. So if you're wondering what's going on the track, this is the B 1500 metres, and we've got Henry Beliveau coming up to get the bell. So a nice pack of 7 guys coming through in 2:58. So that's a good split. So some of these guys, if they can kick down, they could go under that sub-4 mark. I remember many years trying to run under sub-4 as a competitive 1500 metre runner, and you're always looking to go through about 2:56, and that would give you a 64-second last lap. So let's see what happens with these 4.
As we see them working their way down their back, psychologically, when you achieve it, what does it do to you as an athlete?
When you achieve the sub-4, you're the wrong person to ask, because I never achieved that.
You never got there. The way you were talking, I thought you've done it. The way I thought it was a big lead, and I thought surely he's done it the way he's led that one in.
Big letdown, isn't it? It's one of the things that if I could rewrite my running history, I would. But these guys looking very good. So Carson Vesti, there, number 254, just pulling away from Liam Chesney, and good strong finish here from Carson Vesti. Here he comes, just going to be tick over 4 minutes, 4:01, and then Liam Chesney coming in for second place from Wellington Harriers.
Yeah, that's a good run by all those athletes there, nicely paced through as they come down to the line. I can tell you that they are working through. Here you go, this is the men's long jump as well that you're going to be seeing there. William Stedman again in action, busy old time. One thing that we love about these track and field events is that you see people bouncing around. We were joking about Brianna Stevenson running from the long jump pit to run in her 100, and poor Lily Szabo having completed hers and working her way back. There you see the 5
it's
ladies.
It's sort of like triathlon, where you've got the transition as part of your your event from the finish line over to the runway for the long jump.
And the thing is, though, is that what we're seeing as well is that they're actually very impressive with what they are doing. As we get a shot here of the women's high jump, which is currently going on at the moment. The women's shot put not too far away. Working their way through. At the moment it is Josie Taylor who's had one miss at 177. That's where the bar is at the moment. Alice Taylor also with a miss at 177. Josie coming in at 169. You see the Javelin, which will be taking place as well, but we are going to be looking at a lot of events throughout the course. We'll be bouncing around a wee bit. The women's shot put not too far from getting underway. So it'll be interesting to see that battle unfold once again as we head back to the women's high jump. This is Josie Taylor. Already had one miss at 177.
So the New Zealand Secondary Schools champ from back in December.
Caught that one as the shoulder as she went to elevate. Very nonplussed about it. Just flicks the ponytail out of the way. So a second miss for Josie at 177. Also still involved in this competition, in addition to Alice Taylor, is Imogene Skelton out of Auckland. Cleared at 173. He's got one more attempt at 177. You see Imogene on the screen. You see the sign in the background for Tori. It's Tori Peters getting ready to attack the runway in the Javelin right next to the high jump area. So this is Alice Taylor.
Back from the Javelin into the high jump.
Rattle. Just catching that one. So there is Tori Peters. Unload. It's around, on there, probably mid-50s yeah. Maybe. Say looking at both ends of this wonderful sporting venue. Follows it through. really given away too much there with what she thought of that one. As we come back to Imogen Skelton. Her final attempt at 177 in the women's high jump. Just catches that with the small of the back. And so that is Imogen out. So her best throw, 173. Did have one miss before clearing at that level. So she currently sits in third spot at the moment.
Leaving it all to the Taylor sisters. So very cool.
There she is. Living legend of New Zealand track and field, Dame Valerie Adams. Getting into her work. We are, as I say, we'll be bouncing around between either end of the Porritt Stadium arena. You see Dame Valerie. Handed back. The difference between the size of the implement and the young lady's hands compared to Dame Val's. Lovely moment as well.
It's something you don't really realise with these throwers is the size of them, and then you do see a marshal or someone interviewing them like myself, and then you get a bit of perspective on how solid human beings they are.
So there's another miss, one by Josie Taylor. So that's a third miss for Josie, who currently leads at the moment. She came in at 169, cleared immediately, then got 173, cleared immediately, but she has missed at 177 as we head back to the Javelin area.
So Lexi Maples.
That's with her first throw. So Alice Taylor will have one final jump to try and win this. She clears 177. She will take the victory in the women's high jump. And she has missed. So on count back, will that be Josie that gets the victory, having come in a little later on? How does this work, Hayden Shearman? I think looks to me like it's trying to figure it all out there. They've got them at first. I would have thought Josie maybe on a count back. We'll get that clarified.
Well, I assume the athlete who comes in
later,
but this is where you need to look deep into the record books and the fine print and work these two out. They've both got a clean record until they hit 177, but it's just that Josie came in at 169, was it?
Yep.
And whereas her sister came in quite a lot earlier. So
we are counting down. We are not too far away from the start of the women's shot put. It gets underway at 4:40. The men's shot put gets underway at 6 o'clock, featuring this wonderful battle at the moment between Tom Walsh and Jacko Gill. That Jacko Gill really is dominating at the moment.
Yeah, but it's been getting closer all summer long.
Yeah.
That first meet of the summer back in Night of Fives, it was clearly Jacko's game. But we know Tom's been in quite a heavy training load, so he's been stacking up the tin in the gym, and so that's certainly been affecting his just general sort of speed and poppiness in the circle. It's hard to have that freshness coming into it when you've been very heavy in the gym.
Putting two minis on either end of a barbell and walking up and down, which is pretty much what he does when you see some of the video he posts
Absolutely.
on Instagram. They are monstrous lumps of metal that he is just chucking around.
So it'll be interesting to see that gap's basically gone from sort of 80 centimetres down to 40, and then last week it was only 6 centimetres between the two, with Jacko, of course, having to go out to a new lifetime best. So that shows that Jacko's in the best form of his life, and Tom's heading in the right direction. Where, of course, for those who have been following international athletics, Ryan Krauser threw a new world indoor record in the shot. So it's certainly, Tom will be feeling that sort of just antsiness to get going, really, and get those marks on the board, I'm sure.
Speaking of antsy to get going, Dame Val looks like she's ready to go as well. Looking at the watch, come on, hurry up, speed up time for me. Here we see the throws in the first round. So Tori Peters opened with a 53.7 metre throw. too far away as well from seeing New Zealand's leading male javelin thrower and Ben Langton Bennell. He's not too far away. There is Great Dame Valerie Adams as we sweep our way back across, and we'll be doing that a fair bit. There is still some, as I say, good events on the track as well. 200 metres for men and for women. There's a permit level 800 metres for men as well. And you can also see as well a 1500 metres permit event for women. There's Ben Langton Bennell.
Yeah, that 800 metres I'm very excited about. There's a few young guys trying to get under that sort of magic 150 barrier, and these conditions are just ideal for 800 metre running. Here he goes.
He generally throws pretty well, and he's got that one out quite nicely. We're around the 70 metre mark. It's a legal throw. Been having put down the camera for a day and picked up the javelin once again. He alternates between the two. Very good. Very talented photographer has been Langton Bennell. Just having a wee stare down of that, and then he'll wander across and just have a chat with the coach.
And before I hand over to some expert comments from Terry, I've also got to mention the other events coming up on the track. That 1500 with Camille, she's been in great form, sort of reinventing herself this summer domestically as a middle distance runner, which is great training for her, that she can't be overseas in a specialist 5 and 10K.
So how does those shorter distance, talk to me like I'm an ignorant sod, how do those shorter distances help someone who runs?
9 for Ben.
There you go. So how does that help someone who is generally running the 5 and 10K? How does running 800 and 1500 metre assist her to try and improve the time in that particular area?
Yeah, so with running, everything comes back to how fast can you do the shorter event. So if you're a 1500 metre runner, well, how fast can you do an 800? You know, if you can't run 153 in the 8, then you probably can't go sub 4 in the mile. And it's the same with, say, a 5,000 metre runner. Doing a bit of work at 1500 and 800 really just raises that glass ceiling, gets you used to running a lot faster, improves your mechanics, and then that translates nicely to better efficiency, but also mentally you're just in a lot better zone when you're running along at, you know, for the guys this morning in the 5,000 metres running 64-second laps. If you're used to running 59s in a mile, then that's all of a sudden a lot more comfortable. So for Camille, this summer will be about raising that ceiling and then adding in that real true endurance sort of VO2 work that you'll do to get ready for the 5 and 10,000.
So I can tell you that the women's high jump, you just saw the Taylor sisters there. They're involved in a jump off at the moment. The bar still remains set at 1 metre 77 centimetres. So Josie and Alice at the moment are having a jump off, both having missed at 177. So Tori Peters is about to make her way back onto there's Tori, back into the women's javelin. So
we just got confirmation the high jump's actually at 175, so they've just notched it back a bit. Okay. And I imagine just to make the most of the home crowd.
Fair enough too. Yep, it has to. It's just come adjusted on our screen, which, by the way, you can also follow as well if you want to look for these live results as they are happening. There's a way that you can do that. Go to live.athletic.net. Search out the Porritt Classic and you'll be able to watch and see. You see Tori Peters load her next throw. And trying to get up around. She'd love that 60 metre mark is what she would be looking for, above and beyond, preferably.
Now, I am going to hand over my mic to Terry, but before I go, I also have to mention the 200s, because this is where we see Tian and Eddie go head-to-head again. And also Joseph Miller, I assume the hometown hero will be in. We'll see Zoe again. Then we've got that big 1500, and then the 4x1s, and this is really exciting. Can we get some 4x1 qualifying times? Could we get a team to the Olympics? That would be so exciting.
Well, Hayden Shearman there, who might have been listening to the conversation that Terry and I were having about that very, very same subject, is just so exciting a thought. 54.32 there for Tori Peters, who leads at the moment as we are getting set for the start of the women's shot put. Of course, this is a permanent event. So those ranking points They are available. As we see this event get underway with Madeline Lee Wishy. And this is the young lady who has been really challenging the established star in Dame Valerie Adams. It's going to be a fun wee battle between those two, as we're seeing as well between Tom Walsh and Jack O'Gill, as we'll see between Lauren Bruce and Julia Radcliffe. And as you heard Hayden allude to as well there, the matchups in the 200. We don't know. We need to find out, is Hamish Gill, having been very impressive in the 400, is he going to back up and do a 2? We just don't know. All those questions will be answered on Sky Sport Next. So glad that you're with us. My name's Nigel Olden. Terry Lomax has just slid alongside. We'll send Hayden Sherman back down. He'll get a few more interviews. Also, head down to the shot put area, and we'll get him right down, having a good look at that. 16 metres 66 was that last throw. And so things are up and running all the way through these events. So Madison Lee with her first throw, that was 16.66. I say she's really been pressuring Dame Valerie Adams. So Natalia Rankin-Chita there just with her first throw of the competition. And not too far away from seeing Dame Valerie Adams step into the throwing circle either. This is the part of a track and field meeting which is fun. You're literally, it's the old neck just going back and forth, trying to find, bouncing in between all the stars as we see.
Josie Taylor attempting 173.
She's got that one. There's a wry grin on her face.
So what happened here was that they had exactly the same chart right through 177. They had 3 misses at 177. That meant a jump off. They have a 4th attempt at 177. They both missed that. The bar then goes down to 175. They both missed that. It's gone down to 73. And Josie's got it. Alice needs to get it to stay in the contest.
And then does it go back up again in 2 centimetre lots?
If they both got it, then it goes back up. And it keeps doing that till someone wins.
Okay, so that's Terry Lomax providing the expert analysis there. We just weren't sure because we'd seen, I think it was Alice coming in, Josie might have been coming in slightly later. We wondered whether that was some kind of a tiebreaker, similar to what we saw earlier on in that long jump event. But Terry has always, all things athletics, he knows about it. Great to have his expert knowledge here. It's a wee bit of an issue at the moment, just getting the measurements as we see the men's long jump. And then we see over there on the far side, bouncing around left, right and centre, as I say, we've got long jump, javelin, both genders, the jump off and the high jump still going. We've got the shot put. We've got plenty to keep eyes on. There's got some hurdles getting set up at the moment as well. And then we see Kaya Tupu South from Takapuna. She's in the circle for her first throw of the evening. Right up hard against the stop board. And it's a legal throw. White flag goes up. And we wait for the measurement. And Natalia Rankin-Chita, her throw was 12.4. Let's wait now for the mark to come through. Say, Dame Valerie Adams competes for Pakaranga in these events. She'll be representing Auckland when we're at the Nationals 3 weeks away. The 14.56. So volunteers there straight away, in with the rake. There's Nadia Kimmich out of North Harbour Bays. And the next athlete in 5-athlete field, and that will be Dame Valerie Adams. Dame Val sort of throwing those 18-metre efforts. Though she is capable of just working her way back through it. And again, Terry, when we talk about, strategies and where they are at in the season, where would Val like to be in your opinion, do you think?
Well, like all athletes, she'd like to be further than she's got, but she's got some technical things that she's worked on and tried to change, and it's a matter of getting control of those so that she can use the awesome power and strength that she has, which she obviously has, and harness it to get the sorts of performances that she knows she's capable of.
Let's have a look at where that one is. It's around sort of late 17s, 18s weight. Innocent Liwishi with the lead at the moment, 16.66, but you suspect that that one there has gone well and truly past that one. As we sit and wait, as they make the adjustments. 18.48, so a very good start by Dame Valerie Adams.
And a good opener. She's been working on trying to get her right foot underneath when she glides across the circle, so that she can use the power and the strength of that leg to set her up for the throw. And she's been struggling with the timing and the positioning around that, but it's something technically that she's been focusing in on, and obviously getting somewhere, because opening with 18.48 is a good start.
You see Melanie Wishi, who goes more with the rotational approach. As I say, the glide is the style that Dame Valerie Adams uses. That is was the more traditional. I mean, the rotational technique now really is becoming to the fore, as we see another good throw over there in the Javelin. Madison Lee with 17.31, 17 metres, 31 centimetres. So a nice reply from the youngster.
So we're in the situation with the shot put where way back, last century, the Fosbury flop was. And straddle was the dominant technique. That was the one that everybody used, and then Fosbury decided he couldn't straddle, so he needed to do something else if he wanted to be a high jumper, and the Fosbury flop was invented. And now it's ubiquitous, I think is the term.
Most definitely is, and we are seeing, as I say, it's been quite interesting now, because there just aren't as many gliders in shot putters as what as we have seen. Here's Tori Peters, a couple of throws in the mid-50s to start off.
She's not hitting it through the point. She's losing the tail down, and you can see the way it flies, that it's not flying through the point. It's flying nose up.
So here we are with Kaya Tupo South with her second attempt. It was 14.56 with the first, and she's fouled that one. Not happy with it. We look over at the coach. Just looking. Getting the hands. Is it hand signals, or is it just a legitimate conversation? I mean, they're close enough to actually have a conversation, but is it more hand signals or unspoken?
Bit of both. There'll be key cues that the coach will come out with, which will hopefully trigger a response. The problem with coaching and athletes, of course, is that if the athletes just did what the coach said they needed to do, they'd have no problems. But the problem is actually trying to do what the coach wants them to do.
Yes, as we see another throw you just saw on your screen there, the lead, and that one there's been fouled off, and you saw the lead at the moment. Trying to find what's happening in the...
So in the high jump...
it looks like it's Alice. Let's have a look.
Josie cleared 173, and Alice missed, so that's a win to Josie on jump off.
There we go. So here's Dame Valerie. We look at that one. Nice.
As I said earlier, if the athlete looks interested, then there's a chance that it's a reasonable throw or jump.
Well, they know each other, I guess. They know themselves. And I mean, when you're been around in the sport as long as that lady on your screen has been, she would know better than anyone.
And in training, she's been working on getting into certain positions, having a certain feel for when she throws and releases. And shot putters know when it's a good throw just by the way it comes out of the hand.
So that's an 18.35 for Dame Valerie Adams. So opens with 18 metres 48, and then 18.35 with her second. Madison Lee Wishi, who started off with 16.66 and then improved to 17.31. It's that one. Again, will we see a little bit of an improvement from Madison Lee? You see Chris Strange behind there, driving forces of the Porritt Classic on the microphone, doing a bit of ground announcing.
So one thing about the way Madison Lee competes. She builds up to a crescendo in some way, starts off at a lower level, then starts to almost warm to the task.
And that is exactly what she done, was 17.43. We will let Natalia throw here, and then we'll bring in Hayden Sherman, who's down. He's positioned himself right in behind the throwing circle, getting a cracking view of everything that's going on here. Hayden, what have you made so far of the first couple of throws, particularly of our two leading contenders?
Well, they're looking good. Thanks, guys. They're both looking smooth, both looking very, very focused. And I'm sure that there's kind of that, like we talked about before, that sort of antsy feeling, because you know the conditions are so good. They wanted warm weather. They had cold weather last week in Christchurch, and this week it is on. So there's sort of that feeling that you're picking up, like, oh, there's potentially something big in the air.
So, well, I think Hayden down there keeping an eye as the various competitions continue to work, and another one of the javelin throwers really getting a lot of air underneath that javelin, and work our way back to Nadia Kimitic, the North Harbour Bays Club, Bakes Cougars.
I think one of the advantages that athletes are finding with the rotational shot is you don't have to be as strong as shot putters used to be. It used to be how strong were you, how much could you bench press, and Tom's an example of an athlete who that's not his driver.
So as you see, there is Valerie Adams. Just waiting, rewrapping the wrists as they just confirm the distance for Kimitic. Now Valerie steps in. 11.83 for Nadia Kimitic out of North Harbour Bays. So Dame Valerie back in the circle. Just never mucks around. Very quick about her work. Point. That's the frustration. It has we look at our camera and a smile. And that look to you, Terry, that is, I know exactly what I did wrong. So as a coach, you just sort of put your hands up, just leave it and go, okay, you know what you've done there, man.
You're correct. And what your assessment is, that's it. And I think you'll find here that she gets under the shot a wee bit. She loses the tension and throws it with her arm.
Yes, the frustration, and a wee look at our camera down there, and Langton Bonnell short of the 70-metre mark. Now, you've spoken a lot with regards to the flight of the javelin. We just saw the back end of it there. Is it a condition thing? Is it just the javelin throwers not adjusting? The fact that they are getting so much height, and I think you thrown through the point, I think was the phrase that you used to describe it, is that not adjusting to the conditions. I mean, I know it's not the breeze that they like to have just helping behind them, but it's still not bad conditions to chuck a spear, isn't it?
The problem is we've got a combined competition, so we've got male and female throwers throwing at the same time. And female throwers like a headwind, and male throwers like a tailwind, because of the position of the centre of gravity of the javelin. So you've got not much wind out there, and as you say, you do need to then adjust to the type of wind that you have. But it's still a relatively solid object, and if you throw through the centre of mass of it at the right angle, it's going to go a long way regardless of what the wind's doing. So
that last throw, by the way, for Dame Valerie Adams was 18.12. So all her throws at the moment in the 18-metre mark. Madison Lee, where she has just ticked away very, very nicely and just improved with every throw. Hayden Sherman down watching this. 3 throws through. There was a lovely exchange there between Dame Valerie and her coach. She seems to be, as always, she does seem to be enjoying herself, doesn't she, Hayden?
Yeah, absolutely. She's gone for a little walk along the shot put landing zone, and you can tell she's she's always here to play ball, and she's looking very focused. It was a great response after that previous throw. She knows exactly, like Terry said, she knows exactly what she needs to tweak. She's done this a million times, and it's about just getting all those parts moving in the right direction, and I'm sure these last 3 rounds we'll see some big bombs.
Well, she is the holder of the meeting record, as we just see Natalia Rankin-Chita just lose her balance, and that will be fouled off. As I say, she is the meeting record holder. That was 20.25, as we see William Steadman in the long jump.
Backing up from his 400-metre run. Not a common double, but William does it pretty well.
Well, he also had a 100-metre sprint as well earlier on in the day as well, and that's one of the things. They'll be working their way through, as we see Kai Tupo South with her 4th attempt. It's been normal. It's 3 throws, and then they are ranked. And then it's the reverse ranking, so the lowest distance thrower through to the highest distance thrower. So we will see Madeline Lee Wishi and Dame Valerie Adams throwing one after each other. They work their way through the order, just getting the measurements right. Here we see 15.17 for Kai Tupo South, who's in 3rd spot at the moment, as we look back over to the men's long jump. There's so much going on at the moment. We've got hurdles not too far away from getting started too. It's a great thing. As I said, we've said it a million times. We'll say it probably 1,000,001. Great things about track and field. When you come to them, there's always something going on. Various points. Anderson Lee has stepped outside the circle there. A little rueful smile. So
she's starting to get it together. The throws look a bit more consummate than they were before. Less effort being observed, but still getting a performance out of it.
Dame Valerie now into the circle. So leading the comp at the moment with 18.48. All 3 of her throws to this point have been in excess of 18 metres, but her first throw was her best. That one there, she's happy, pleased with that one.
Still a very flat throw.
Seem reasonably pleased with it though, the clenching of the fists and the shaking. We'll get another look back at that one. Let's wait and see. As I said, she leads at the moment, 18.48. Wait for the distance to come through. As I say, you are in a position that if you want to fire up the laptop at home, live.athletic.net, scroll through the meetings, you'll find Porritt Classic. You're able to watch these. 18.37. So even though she seemed a lot more pleased with that than maybe with some of her previous efforts, still 11 centimetres short of her current competition leading 18.48. Work our way back over towards the men's long jump.
Nicholas Moratala from Tauranga jumping there.
So there's Nicholas. Lovely tattoo down the left arm. Beautiful piece of art.
Originally from Argentina.
Let's head back to the Javelin area. In terms of trying to teach someone, is that one of the hardest things to teach somebody to throw?
It is, and the evidence of that is if you had a bunch of cricketers out there who could all throw a cricket ball a long way, a number of them would have no show of throwing a javelin a long way.
So can you explain to me then why when we were getting ready to do javelin when I was at school back in the day, why they had us throwing cricket balls?
because it will go as far as you can throw it,
okay.
As opposed to javelin, you can put a lot of effort in it and it will go nowhere. Yeah. So yes, it's a technical event, but there are some people who just have a natural feel for it, as in most athletic events.
So as we come back to Kai Tupo South, so she's currently in 3rd spot at the moment, 15.17. So that one there is wide White flag goes up from our officials. As always, the Athletics New Zealand officials doing a great job.
So in the long jump, that's Shay Veach from Dunedin, who's got out to 7 metres 60 this season.
As we wait for the mark for Kai to come up, it's 15.09, so she's been very consistent, but 8 centimetres short of her previous best. Here's Tori Peters now as we head back to the women's javelin.
Again, you saw the tip just lifting when she started pulling the javelin through, and as soon as that happens, it's just not going to go where you want it to go.
So again,
angle of attack too high.
So it's in that mid-50s range once again. Valerie Adams back in. Steering that one down. And again, now we've seen her do that a couple of times, that symbol to her coach. I'm assuming that's her way of saying, look, I'm close. I know I'm close, but
you can definitely
just not there.
See that in the body language. You know she's so close to it. It's like a swinging pendulum. And it's starting to swing very small amounts now. She's very close to really hitting it.
So she's matched it again, 18.68. So no, that's added on. Sorry, that's 20. That's another 20 centimetres she's added on. Excuse me. She was at 18.48, so 18 metres 68. Extends a lead.
And the challenge for her here is, as experienced as she is, the temptation is just to try too hard rather than do it correctly and let what she has come out.
So, yes.
But I think she'll be encouraged.
Well, it's a good series of throws, all north of 18. I know she'd love to probably get one over 19. That would be just a nice wee psychological boost for her. But in terms of series of throws, it's lovely and consistent and puts a lot of pressure on Madison Lee now. He's got to really find something deep to put her under the pressure that she has been putting her under recently.
One thing we know about Madison Lee is that she is capable of one big throw in a competition. Even if the others aren't up to it, she can nail one.
It must be nice to have an athlete who loves the big stage. As we see Natalia Rankin-Chitar with her final throw. And all of these athletes have just got one more. They'll cycle through reasonably quickly. So as it stands at the moment, just quickly looking through. Tori Peters still leads at the moment in the women's javelin, by the way, with a 54.51. Stephanie Rathel of North Harbour, 50.72. And Brianna Torado with 45.86 at the moment. And Ben Langton Burnell leading the men's with a 69.78. And then it's Toby Robb just leading Brother Campbell by 16 centimetres. Toby with 50.36, Campbell with 50.20. And in the long jump at the moment, Shay Veach leading with 7.63. And Nicholas Maratala, 6 metres 87. There you see the throws so far. Madison Lee passing in that last round. Hope there's nothing untoward there with Madison. She has not picked up an injury of some sort.
Still got her shoes on.
So
good sign.
It's an interesting one. Passing here's Ben Langton Burnell. We've Terry Lomax talking about just the arc, the trajectory of these throws. Well, no Madison Lee again. Dame Val is stepping up for what is her final throw. Ben steps up and launches. That one there is flying a lot better, nearer the 70-metre mark. Straight back to Dame Val, who's in there for her final attempt. Find out what's going on with Madison Lee. Hopefully there's nothing too serious. And Valerie Adams. Ever the show person. Very happy with that one. Gets that one out there in the end. So 18.68. See what the final measurement is for Dame Valerie Adams. We'll head down very shortly to Hayden Sherman and get his thoughts with regards to that. Trying to get Hayden involved. In fact, Hayden's there right now on the mic, just seeing what the final is. 18 point.
Second best of the day.
Yep, so she is throwing a really nice series, Hayden Sherman, and she just seems to be reasonably, you wouldn't say ecstatic, but pretty happy with that is the way to describe it from your privileged position. I don't know why we've got not hearing Hayden coming through there. Hayden might just check. Has he got the microphone on?
Oh, yes, there we are.
There we are. That always helps. Yeah, red light helps in this industry. What have you made of that there? It's a nice, consistent series of throws from Dame Valerie.
Absolutely, and I had a chat to Coach Dale Stevenson, and he was saying, yep, she's ready to throw big. Just ironing out some of those little technicalities, but it was there. She was enjoying the warm temperatures, and she was having fun. You could see that the expression on her face, the big bow to the crowd, a lot of body language that just expressed. Being in this Hamilton sun, doing the sport that she loves.
Well, she always has been a very strong supporter of the Porritt Classic, but we didn't see Madison Lee Wishy. Hayden, was there any whisper as to why we did not see her take the final two throws of her allotment of 6?
I'm going to see if we can pull Madison in for a quick... Madison, do you want to come in for a real quick interview? Just on the way out as you're trying to sneak out of the stadium. But congratulations, second place for you. Pulling out of that last round, anything going on there, or is it just sort of looking after the body for the rest of the season?
Yeah, looking after everything. A couple niggles here and there, as kind of every athlete has them. So just keeping everything safe for nationals. So, yeah.
Cool. And season, you sort of on the heels of... Is there that big performance coming where you're going to just edge here?
Hopefully, fingers crossed, I can pull something out good for myself, and we're working on some technique and training, so hopefully we get that by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, from my uneducated eye, your technique was looking great today. And talk through us what it's like being in the footsteps of such a legend of the sport and being able to compete against her.
Yeah, well, it's an amazing thing. She does amazing things for women in sport and sport in general, and she puts shot put on the world stage for New Zealand, so it's really cool to compete up against her.
And before you go, what's the official pronunciation of your last name? Is it Wish, or are we pronouncing the E?
It's close, it's Wishy.
Wishy. There we go, everyone. Write it down, Wishy. Okay, we'll make sure we get that right from now on. But well done, and I hope the recovers well for what will be the next one, Graham Douglas?
Yes, Graham Douglas.
Awesome. We'll go well, and thanks for entertaining us all this afternoon.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hayden Sherman, great work. Madeline Wishy. There we go, the clarification that we have been seeking, and we thank Madison Lee for her time. Here's Tori Peters on the track. So it is a victory, on the runway for the Javelin. So Dame Valerie Adams, 18.68 with the victory over Madeline Lee Wishy, 17.43, and Kaya Tupo South, 15.37 metres. There's a fist bump between New Zealand's leading male and female javelin thrower. And of course, we will start looking very, very shortly. Of course, the big guns coming out in terms of the men's at 6 o'clock. That's going to be very entertaining. Hayden Sherman will be going in, seeing whether possibly he can grab a bit of a chin wag with Dame Valerie. Another victory at Porritt, and she has been a very loyal supporter of this event over the years. She used to start her season off down here. And so it's nice to see her. A good sign when she's happy and taking photos, and there's one of her children down there. Very cute little one there. I'm sure it's probably Gabriel somewhere lurking around. I'm sure looking after the other one as well. And you see William Steadman on the runway for the long jump.
We have had Shavich get out another 763 jump to maintain his lead, but William's been jumping really well recently in the mid-5s, which is the level he normally works to. He's obviously pushing out to be a bit higher.
Well, let's head down, because it looks as though Hayden Sherman has been able to secure a chin wag with Dame Valerie Adams, who has been victorious at the Porritt Classic once again. Let's go down to Hayden.
Awesome. Yes, well, I'm here with a very happy Dame Val. She was just explaining to me that first time in a long time to go 6 throws over 18 metres. How does that feel?
I feel really happy, very consistent. The dots are slowly connecting, which is great, and I'm very happy with today's performances. Like, there's so much more there. So that's very exciting, but still a little bit frustrated. However, I'm going to take today's performance, and it's great to have my kids watching me this season for the first time. I haven't seen them for a couple of weeks, so today was the first time I've seen them. So, it's awesome to have people here watching us compete, but more importantly, for us to get the performances that we want and that we need right now.
And it looked like, obviously, the weather is so great.
Oh.
Like, how good is this?
Oh, so good. Beats Christchurch, that's for sure. But just very, I love the heat. I am a lot more experienced than these young. Cold. That's...
Having a whole heap of fun out there. Like, talk to us in this stage in your career.
It's awesome to be competitive at my age with these young ones, but also do it as a mum as well. I think hopefully, throughout my career I can inspire female athletes who are in a position that they want to do sport, but they want to have a kid as well, is that you can actually do that and come back. But I absolutely love the challenge of this. I still have a massive passion for it, and obviously when I still compete I get really, really nervous. So that's all, positive things. If I turned up and I just couldn't be bothered, then I think it's time to hang up the boots. But for the time being, I'm still the best in New Zealand and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, so why not? And I get to carry these kids around while I'm doing it. So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for putting on a great show. It's been awesome to watch you this summer, and more to come. Next one will be Graham Douglas.
Yes, that's right, Sir Graham Douglas. So that'll be up in Auckland in a couple of weeks' time, so I'll be looking forward to that. But next weekend I get it off, so woo!
Awesome. Let's book in that nice warm weatherman. Let's.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Hayden Shearman there is Dame Valerie. I thought for a moment she was actually going to start doing some bar curls with that young child. She had it in the position, but there you see Dame Valerie Adams. Lovely set of throws. 18.48 to open, then a 35, a 12, a 37, a 68, a 50, all in the 18-metre range. You heard it, Terry Lomas. It sounded like a very, very satisfied athlete as a coach. Are those the sort of numbers that you like to see that put a smile on the dial of your charges?
At 3 weeks out from Nationals, you want to see a bit of consistency at a level that's towards where you want to be. And 6 throws over 18 certainly indicates that. As I said before, you set a high base and then you can get a spike performance out of it. And that's what Val was alluding to there. She knows she's got a big one not far away.
Yeah, and it was interesting just hearing to Madison just saying, Madison Lee saying to Hayden there as well about sort of pulling out as we see Alice Taylor, who's been going in between the high jump and back to the javelin now. And then we've got some more action from the long jump on the far side. So plenty still going on. There'll be a wee break at the moment in the shot put circle. We are just on 45 minutes away from the men's shot put, the resumption of the Tom v. Jacko battle. Of course, Ryan Ballantyne as well in his own wee battle, trying to find that magical 20-metre mark with the senior implement.
And Ryan's another example of an athlete who knows it's there. He knows he's strong enough, he's powerful enough, just can't quite put it together. Which is always frustrating for an athlete.
Well, you never know. I mean, look, we've seen some wonderful performances. If you are just joining us on Sky Sport Next, so glad to have your company throughout this evening. We have seen a New Zealand residence record set earlier in the day. Meeting records have been broken as well. Zoe Hobbs just continues to get ever closer to that magical mark of the 100 metres New Zealand record. We've seen a wonderful performance by Portia Bing, going sub 56 seconds, and as I say, a New Zealand residence record in that particular event, the 400 metres women's, as we head to see the women's hurdles, which is also underway and going as well. And that one there, I think we've seen performances there. Was that I think whether that was Robinson or Morrison coming through for the Wilkinson.
We've got Shay Veach on the runway in the long jump now. He's done 2 jumps of 7.63, so he's certainly performing well. He's been quite selective in the events, in the competitions he's chosen. He hasn't over-competed himself, but every time he competes at a high level.
He's the only one of the jumpers as well over 7 metres. Opened with a 7.63. Then he had a foul with a second jump, then 7.06 metres, then another foul, then 7.63. Yeah, this is his last throw, and that last jump, I should say, and that's 7.52 metres.
He's got all the attributes you need as a long jumper. He's powerful, he's fast, he's run 10.60 in the 100, he's run 21 low in the 200, and funnily enough, there's always a good crossover between 200 performances and long jump. So he has some exciting potential as we see Tori Peters on the runway in the Jav.
Yep, 54.51 at the moment, leading this competition. Once again, you see that one there. Again, that...
One of the things we talk about with Javelin is retaining the energy in the Javelin when they throw. And you saw that one there, it's like the energy just seeped out of it and it just died and landed. Whereas when she's throwing well, you see, as I say, the energy just stays in the Javelin. It keeps moving through the centre of mass and it lands with energy. And that one, as you saw, it didn't land with any energy. It just ran out of puff.
Just flopped.
Yep.
Flopped. So Tori Peters, still with the advantage, she'll win with a 54.51. And again, it is a permit event, so she will get good ranking points out of that as I think Valerie Adams continues to rest, mind you. There she'll do curl. There she is. Lovely wee thing. And, you know, she has that kind of a performance with her children being able to watch her for the first time in a long time. You've got to say there's probably a connection there. Got to be in that happy place, and she heads over, and now she'll hand over to Gabriel, who's looking after the children, and now everyone's coming over, and they all want to have a bit of a chat, try and get some autographs with former world and Olympic champion, and one of the best to do it.
And the great thing about Val is that she's more than willing to stand there, spend the time, sign the autographs, even though she's been doing it for years and years.
So the men's competition as well. So the Javelin, he's got one more throw to go. It's still Ben Langton Bennell. 69.83 was his last throw, and that is the best to this point. Campbell Robb is currently in second spot. And that was 53.25. And brother Toby out of the Hamilton City Hawks. Here is Campbell Robb, wearing the colours of St. Peter's by the looks, is he? Or St. Paul's, I should say. Excuse me, St. Paul's, not St. Peter's. St. Peter's of Cambridge do have a presence here at the stadium today with a wee tent up. That is definitely St. Paul's Collegiate. And there you see the long jump results. Shay Veach with the victory over Nicholas Maratala and Charles Annals, who has been sort of bouncing around, sort of doing other stuff with the technology side of it. Still finding the time to be able to go out and compete himself. There's Dame Val off now on the...
warm-down jog.
That's a warm-down jog, weighted warm-down jog with some children curls thrown in for good measure. There you go. Goodness, as a kid, it must just be great. You look at the smile on that little one's face. Mum can just chuck me down wherever I want. Oh, I don't want to walk, Mum. Give me a break. You're Dame Valerie Adams. Mum, come on, pick me up. Let's go for a wander. You need the extra training. Lovely sight to see. Lovely sight to see. So, Dame Val being absolutely upstaged at the moment and loving every moment of it. So we're not too far away. I think we got Ben Langton Bennell, who's on the runway. We'll let Terry Lomax, I think, is not too far away from stepping away. He's got some official business to attend to very shortly. It's very rare for Terry to come to an event like this and not have a plethora of athletes as we watch Ben Langton Bennell talk about that energy. It stays just inside the throwing arc.
And he'll just have that sense that he's not quite hitting it, not quite hitting through it as he signalled there. His body's going to the left, the javelin's going to the right. You saw where it landed in the sector, just not connecting. And that's one of the terms that throwers like to talk about. When you get the connection, it just happens. When you're struggling to connect, it's a struggle.
So as he's taking the victory, he'll take those ranking points as well as I tell you what, Dame Val showing a step there. There might be members of the Black Ferns. They might be just thinking there's a World Cup later on in the year. With a step like that, she wouldn't look out of place in the second row just quietly.
With that much power, she wouldn't need to step.
Mind you, with a step like that, she could put her at number 8 as well. True, very true. I wonder if Sarah Hironi's going to be just on the phone afterwards. We've got a prize giving coming up. Terry Lomax is going to step away and he will go do some coaching of his sole athlete who is performing here today. I say normally Terry's got so many athletes to deal with. Very prolific and he's a great contributor as he was as an athlete. Now as a coach as well. As Kai Tupo South jumps up onto the third level of the podium. Third step, I should say. And receives the envelope. There is Madison Lee Wishy. So great to have that clarification as well of her name too. And then, of course, Dame Valerie Adams. So she is absolutely no. I've had enough of this, Mum. Yep. I'll let you have your moment right now.
There we go. That's the moment we waited for.
Oh dear, that's the joy, and
I love it.
And now everyone comes in. What a great photo! On a little pose there as well too.
The over the shoulder look. That's good. Got that. That took me at least till about 13 or 14 to get nailed. The blue steel over the shoulder.
Great.
He's already got it.
I thought it was really interesting energy coming from Dame Valerie Adams when you spoke to her. She was so positive, very happy with it, obviously being able to perform in front of her kids as well. But you really do sense that, she said there is something there, and you hear that a lot from athletes. But the way Dame Val said it, it's like, there is definitely something there. Is that the kind of energy you were feeling standing so close to her?
Absolutely, and that's what I felt from Dale as well, her coach. And you get the feeling like she's like, oh, this is I'm starting to feel a little bit like my old self, but also like she said, just she realizes that her position is to inspire the next generation who are right now climbing on top of her back. But there's hundreds of young females in the audience watching this, thinking, could I be the Val Adams in my chosen sport or chosen discipline? So she's just an incredible example, and you can see the amount of time she gives to the public. She's so accessible, and what a resource to have in our athletics community here in New Zealand.
So as she goes through and continues to wrestle, there's the final result of the women's javelin. So it's a victory for Tori Peters, her fourth throw of 54.51, 54 metres, 51 centimetres victorious. Stephanie Rattle with her second throw of 50.72. And Brianna Torado with her second throw as well, 45 metres, 86 centimetres.
Yeah, I think Tori will be a little bit frustrated with this afternoon's efforts. It's solid, but last year she threw that big New Zealand record of 62.04, and so she'll certainly be wanting to get back up into the 60s as we see the show leaving right of stage. And an exciting afternoon still to come for those watching. Next on the track will be the 1500 metre relay, named after the Willis family. I think it's sort of set up to be like, can a school break Nick Willis's 1500 metre time but run it as a relay? It's no mean feat. You gotta be moving.
Yeah, it was great having Nick here last year, and now you see Dame Valerie, and you see all those young people line up, the odd older one as well. We can see there waiting too.
I've seen multiple officials get their photo with. I think this is how they get officials and volunteers there. They say, we can guarantee you a photo with Dame Val.
So we have seen a great performance there by Dame Valerie Adams, very pleasing as well. We can tell you too, just caught the last of the women's 100 metres hurdles, and that was won by Amy Robertson out of North Harbour Bays in a time of 13.8. And then you've got Fiona Morrison, who was second, 14.13, and Hinawai Knowles out of Cambridge, 14.25. That was the top three. As we see the presentation now of the long jump.
Yes, it is 14.25 for Hinawai. But yeah, so Amy and Fiona are, the leading seniors. But keep an eye out for this young girl, Hinawai. She was your national champion at the secondary schools. The year before that, she won the senior secondary schools 100 hurdles, 100 flat double. So she is certainly one to watch over the coming years. And see if she can get up and mix it with Amy and Fiona over the coming few years.
There you see Shea Veach with a very good performance in winning the men's long jump. Nicholas Maratala away to the left there, and Charles Annals, who's part of Athletics New Zealand and was actually the person we were talking about earlier in the day who was sorting out the timing issue. He's done that, and now he's headed over. He's finished third in the long jump. Big day for Charles, who's done great. And as I say, the live scoring system, which I know Charles has helped implement for Athletics New Zealand, you can access that yourself. So you can sit and you can watch Sky Sport Next. You can open up your laptop and you can log on to live.athletic.net, find the Porritt Classic, and you can sit there, live scoreboard from both the track and also from the field as well. Go through, get those times coming through, and you can enjoy the full complement.
And you'll see the results come through at the same time as we do. So that's very cool, and it's great to finally have the sport in New Zealand, come into the 21st century with live streaming and results coming right immediately as they happen. So it's awesome.
So we've got just a wee pause here as we get ourselves set for this relay that you heard Hayden Sherman providing the expert analysis now while Terry Lomax heads away and prepares an athlete. I think it's for the men's 800 metres that he's got an athlete running, but a 1,500 metres relay. As we say, we saw last year Nick Willis actually at this particular event. And actually on social media prior to the event last year, he sent out a thing saying, look, if anyone wants to come for a warm-up run or a warm-down run, come down after the event. I'll be happy to join you. I know one person who did take advantage, they weren't aware of it, was actually Rob Waddell's son. He said, Rob, we were just standing along I was lucky enough to have a chat with Rob briefly, and Nick Willis is running around. His son was looking a bit starstruck. I said, he's looking for people to go running with him. Well, the shoes were off. Didn't want the track shoes to stay on. Shoes were off, and he went for a run with Nick Willis, and he was fizzing about it. And, I mean, that's the great thing, as we see, Dame Valerie Adams, who's been out and signing autographs, and she'll spend a bit of time with her family now. This is the great thing about these events. We are so fortunate in this day and age in New Zealand to be able to have those kind of interactions, to have these kind of sporting events and be able to attend them.
We're very privileged in New Zealand. If you go to an American, USA national champs or UK national champs, you won't even get close to the top athletes, the likes of the Nick Willises or the Dame Vels. They'll go through the media area, the media mix zone, and then they're out of the stadium, and you can't. They maybe do a signing session, an official booked in time. But it's not like you can just bump into them in the car park and go for a jog with them. It's a really privileged position that we're in. So those watching at home, if you haven't already come to some live athletics this summer, be sure to book it in, because look, $10 for adults, that's a bargain.
Well, let's just remember that we are only 3 weeks away from the National Championships. We'll bring you those details very shortly. There you see Ben Langton Medell. 69.2. He will be, 69.83. His fifth row. There he is, along with the Rob brothers, Campbell and Toby. And that man on the left knows a thing or two about throwing the javelin a long way too. Great to see Stuart Farquhar along.
Yeah, good to see Ben back in form as well. We've had a quiet few months from Ben, so good to see him back on that javelin runway.
So we see the female competitors who'll be getting ready as well. And you see some of the athletes awaiting their turns, family, friends, supporters, as we get ready now for the 4 by 375 metre relay, but it is, as Hayden has pointed out it's a 1,500-metre relay.
And I think it's actually a 300 first up and then the remaining 3 legs are 400s, judging by what I can see out on the track at the moment. So everyone's starting on the 300 staggers, and then we've got a row up of ladies at the finish start line for the 400. So some will start with a 300 and some will start with a 400, and this is where you question your coach why that girl got the 300 and you got the 400.
So there's 5 teams involved, 2 from Waikato Diocesan School for Girls. They're in lane 1 and lane 3 as we look at the starting order. Lane number 2 is Te Awamutu College. Lanes 4 and 5, Whanganui Collegiate. And that very distinctive Cambridge blue with the black sash. And so as Hayden has broken it down, 300 followed by 3 sets of 4. Just making the adjustments, getting ready.
Now, as far as the time that they'll be wanting to get, we know Nick Willis's personal best for the New Zealand record for the 1500, 3:29, just staggeringly fast. But of course, for the women, we want Nikki Hamlin's record from back in 2011. So that's 4:04. So can anyone as a team beat that 4:04.82?
So there we go. Let's use those as the reference points as you see the teams make their way off on the first leg, so 300 metres. And then as you heard Hayden Sherman, who's done a great job for us down there at trackside, providing the interviews, and great to be able to get Madison Lee Wishy and then also get Dame Valerie Adams as well. And Hayden will be providing the expert analysis here, a man who very much enjoys he enjoys all athletics, but very much a running man.
Yes, I've got a soft spot for the longer distances. And here they come. So staying in their lane. So I imagine they'll come out of their lanes as they hit the first changeover. So those girls going through in about 41 seconds. So that's quick.
So Te Awamutu College with the lead, and now Whanganui Collegiate. I think that's their A team that was running in lane number 4, and they have moved into the lead. Got 2 teams out of Waikato Diocesan School for Girls, and at the moment it is Whanganui Collegiate with a good advantage. Te Awamutu College about to be caught by Waikato Diocesan School for Girls, and then Hayden has already started the stopwatch. They'll keep on track. That 4 minutes, 4.82 seconds set by Nikki Hamlin. That was Barcelona back in the day.
So they only need to do 65-second laps here. And I know that time well because that's about the time that I used to run a 1,500 metre. And so I imagine this is very achievable for these talented. There'll be a mix of middle distance and sprinters here. So here they come. We'll get a good split after that. Remember, the leaders went through in about 41 seconds. So they've gone through in 1:45. So that was a 64-second lap. So that's bang on what you need to keep up with Nikki Hamlin.
So this is a really good advantage at the moment that the Whanganui Collegiate A team has got. It's the 2 teams out of Waikato Diocesan School for Girls in second and third. Then it's Te Awamutu College. Then the Whanganui Collegiate B side at the moment just toning over, but at the moment as they make their way down, showing lovely running form, charging away with the ponytail flowing. Don't look back.
Yeah, that was
young
an early
lady.
look
just
over the shoulder.
Look forward. Just keep on charging. She switches the baton to the other hand now, just trying to get comfortable with it, but she's running along very nicely at the moment.
Yeah, so they went through the 800 metres in 2:01, so that's nice and quick, just outside 60-second laps. Another little look over the shoulder. She'll come around the corner here and have a straight run home before we get the bell on the last leg of this 1,500 metre relay. Do we call it a 1,500 or is it 4x3 plus 3?
I think if we just call it we'll call it a 1,500 metre relay. If we've got to break it down, it gets a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
But there is the changeover for the Collegiate A team, and they've got an advantage at the moment of around 40 metres. There you see it.
Yeah, 2:58 for the second chase group is that Waikato Dio. So they should be in with a chance of breaking that 4:04, but I absolutely think Whanganui Collegiate here is going to run away and potentially go well under 4 minutes.
I tell you what, I don't know whether Nick Willis's mark is under threat. I doubt that very greatly. In fact, the time not too far from ticking over. But yeah, I tell you what, this is a really nice run at the moment. It's just making their way, 150 metres to go. As we say, the 4:04 is the time of Nikki Hamlin. If we're going to use that as a comparison, just slowing up a little bit as they come to the straight. Waikato Dio making good ground, but can they make enough ground? I don't think they can. Just has a wee look over the shoulder. She knows she's comfortable. And so whilst the gap has closed significantly, she makes her way down to the line. Can they go sub 4?
Yeah, it's going to be close. Here they come.
It's tiring a little bit as they come right to the end. Just going to miss out on the 4, but well underneath that 4:04 of Nikki Hamlin's. And so a victory to Whanganui Collegiate with Waikato Diocesan School for Girls in second. They will also come through in third spot at the moment. Whanganui Collegiate, the B team has gone really well because they were quite a distance away in fifth spot, but they've made their way up to fourth, and through come Te Awamutu College, and they will round out the top 5 in this really great concept.
So Nikki Hamlin, the ghost Nikki Hamlin, finishing in second place officially, and just ahead of our Waikato Dio team.
So of course the next will be the men, and as we say, we'll be looking for that time of Nick Willis's. See whether anyone can dip under that. 3:27?
3:29.
There we go.
So set back in 2015, and of course, as most of you will know, he's still on the rampage with a couple of sub 4-minute miles this year already.
So was that 8? No, was that 18 or 19 successive years with a sub 4?
So I think it's 19 now. So that takes the record off John Walker. And can he do 20? This is the big question.
Yes, I'll answer it right now. Yes, I've got no doubt in my mind. It's Nick Willis.
The amazing thing I think about that record is that he's had so many surgeries and injury issues, but he's managed to time it so he'll have a 9-month recovery period, but sneak in a little sub 4 at the beginning or end of a year. So just an incredible record. And I'm sure. What's the time over in Michigan right now? I'm sure he'll be tuning in if the Willis family's still up. So, hi, kia ora to Sierra and Nick.
It will all depend on whether his beloved Detroit Pistons are playing or whether there is maybe some NCAA event involving Michigan University, which he is very, very proud of, and rightfully so as well, it must be said. And so we've just got a little break on the field, but we are getting set and we are getting ready for, as we see the prize givings coming up for the women's high jump. We've had both the javelins and the long jump, women's shot put, women's triple jump, not too far away from getting underway. Likewise, the women's hammer. And this has really just flourished. We all remember the wonderful victory of Julia Radcliffe at Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. And she was rolling along really nicely there at this event last year, broke the New Zealand record not once but twice. But Lauren Bruce has overtaken her at the moment, the New Zealand record holder. And this is going to be a fantastic battle between these two ladies, because I remember speaking with Julia last year after she set the record, and she said she liked doing it in her house. Okay, now when you use that phrase, it means like that's something that you protect and you cherish. So I can see this particular event being an absolute peach of a battle. And apparently you were down here this morning?
Yes.
And they were throwing it long, I understand?
I saw Lauren throwing that hammer very, very far. There were no distance markers out at the time, but we were sort of looking at it with just the naked eye and thinking that looks very close to sort of national record kind of length. And so she's looking in great shape as Lauren Bruce. And like you say, this is Julia's house. This is her home turf, and she... we saw her in Potts Classic a few weeks ago foul out of the competition with 3 no throws, and then getting edged out of not missing that top 8. Oh, sorry, missing that top 8. So she'll want to come in and certainly rectify, get that season back on track today. Will Julia?
So as we set, you see the competitors in the triple jump. There's the hammer throwers just getting themselves set, working their way through everything. We've got the second of our 1,500 metre relays.
Yeah, just 2 teams in this one, I believe. It is just two schools, just Whanganui Collegiate and St. Patrick's Stream. And they are off. So St. Pat's looking like a very strong start.
Actually, looks to me, that actually looks like the logos of Hamilton Boys High School. I'm wondering
Oh,
whether
yeah.
Sit Pats have actually... Some Pats, it appears to be the team that is out. That is definitely Hamilton Boys High. Very distinctive crest on the left breast of that particular athlete. But
And
Wanganui,
is this... Yeah, this is Wanganui.
that's Wanganui Collegiate. And we're looking as they are charging away, of course, staying in their lanes initially before they make the handover. And we continue as the handover is made. And, of course, the mark that you heard Hayden Shearman refer to, trying to get under that magical mark, the record of Nick Willis's. And they're off to a cracking start, it's fair to say, Hayden.
Yeah, well, I'm intrigued here because Hamilton Boys have run straight through that 300 without an interchange. So I'm guessing he's got 700 metres to open up. So we've had one of the team members pull out. So he's drawn the short straw and had to do a 7-metre opening leg. As we can see, the boys from Whanganui are really pulling away. Can they keep up with the ghost Nick Willis?
So while this is all happening as well, Tom Walsh is just doing some warm-ups, as to Jacko Gill. I'm trying to read what is on Tom's shirt. I love the running is overrated one that he's been rolling recently. Oh, this one says space for rent. So there we go. Tom Walsh is wearing
Sponsors.
a T-shirt which says space for rent. There you go. If you're in the industry of wanting to maybe put yourself on a body that gets seen a fair bit, I don't think that would be the worst one.
Now these boys, the Whanganui...
There he is.
I love it. That's not a small font, is it?
I was about to say,
big boy with
yeah,
a large
that's-
font.
That is a big font. That would be at least, what are we talking there? Maybe 96, maybe 148 font. Love it that he's just gone with the straight Arial as well. Didn't start messing around with Comic Sans or anything like that. That's just Arial. That's Arial black.
Big and bold. That's the way we like it with our shot putters. So these boys in this 1,500 metre relay, this is getting really interesting. The pace that they need to run is 56-second laps. Now, they went through 800 in 148. So that is,
So 2.5?
54.
Yep.
So they're on pace. In fact, they're ahead of the imaginary Nick Willis right now. Let's see that we're going to get a split here. It will be 1,200 and 242. So that means he's got 56 seconds up his sleeve. 57 seconds even.
So it really has just been a bit of a time trial for Wanganui Collegiate. Hamilton Boys High, it appears as though I've had an athlete pull out. So a 700 metre run for their opening runner. And now the second of their two runners just coming down the home straight now as the final runner for Wanganui Collegiate is making his way into the home straight too.
Yeah, so I said 56. I meant 46. Maths quite wasn't that good on the spot, but he should here go under that time of 3:29. The clock is at 3:23, 3:24, 3:25, and edging out Nick Willis. There they go. 3:29, about 2 seconds later. So, wow, they did it.
3:27 or thereabouts, I think will be the number when it pops up on our timing screen. We see the final athlete for Hamilton Boys High School making their way down the back straight, and the members of Collegiate. Handshakes floating around. Just lovely evening. A little bit of cloud cover, but it's actually made it very, very humid. And it is. Saw some great conditions. We saw great running earlier on. We mentioned the New Zealand residence record that has been set. Wonderful 100 metres by Zoe Hobbs, who's really just in a magnificent vein of form at the moment. And you just wonder, Hayden, whether that the stage Zoe needs is that National Championships in Hastings in 3 weeks' time, 5th to the 7th of March. Of course, we'll have it here on Sky Sport Next for you, the Jenny and Holmes New Zealand Track and Field Championships. You just wonder, you hear people talking about these, those moments. There's the details right there, Mitre 10 Park and Hawke's Bay. Looking forward to that one. It'll be pretty significant. You just wonder, is that the stage that those people are going to be looking for, the likes of the Zoes and the Porsches, even the Tom? We heard Val, that energy from Dame Valerie that was just coming out at you, just in bucket loads. I mean, it's going to be must-watch stuff.
Absolutely, and I think for particularly the top-ranked, like the Zoes, the Vals, the Toms, they are. This isn't their peak time of year. They are wanting to peak for hopefully a Tokyo Olympics in July / August. So that means that March is a better time to see performances. This is sort of building up the momentum, getting points on the board, hopefully trying to get qualifying times and all that. But it's working towards that July date rather than, this date in February is the focus for my year. So like you say, I think we're going to see some amazing performances, and let's hope we get some good weather. We should do. It's sunny, Hawke's Bay, and I just saw Jacko throw what looked to me like a pretty comfortable 20-metre throw.
Well, nice and relaxed, but of course, obviously, when the competition gets underway, things start to get very interesting. So we're getting ready now for some 200-metre sprints.
Yeah, we've also got the 800s
as well coming up too.
So we've got the women's 800 metres, and this one will be an exciting one. We've got a good, strong field with Catherine Camp lining up. So the New Zealand two-time champion in this event. I'm just looking in the field if we've got her in this heat. Yes, she is. She's coming into lane 5.
So as we get ourselves set, just trying to get all the details lined up. As we say, we've got the shot put that's set down to start in 14 minutes time at 6 o'clock. Just prior to that, the hammer, 5 to 6. The Ratcliffe-Bruce battle continues. So there's also as well, when we talk about the men's shot put, yep, Tom and Jacko with their battles. You've got Ryan Ballantyne, who's just edging closer and closer to throwing 20 metres with the senior implement. Of course, a standout at the junior levels working through the grade. There's a lot of work with Tom Walsh.
Yeah, their training crew that they've got down in Christchurch at the moment is just fantastic. Val's relocates there every other week or so, and I've seen them out training when I've been at the track, and they have times when they're bouncing a ball around playing foursquare or something. Oh, we've got a false start in the 800 metres.
Well, that's rare. That is very rare.
So yeah, hopefully it's not a false start. Hopefully it's just one of those reset and go again. Let me run through the start list for this, and we don't have the official start list, but I've got a whole list of names, and I expect a couple of them have been scratched. So we've got Brooke Cull, Sophie Atkinson, Ruby Barton, Chloe Hughes, Steffi Burrows, Joanna Polland, Stella Sampson, Christy Solomon, Catherine Camp, Emma Douglas, Olivia Haller, Maddie Hales, and Brianna Lee. Now, we imagine that a couple of those have been scratched because we've just got 10 athletes on the track at the moment. But keep an eye out for Catherine Camp. She's been dealing with injury over the last year, and she's just been a little bit off her best this summer so far. But I'm sure she'll be one of those athletes who will be peaking as we get closer to nationals.
Catherine slotting into lane number 5 there. Will there be 2 runners initially?
Yeah, just sharing the lane with Sophie Atkinson. And nice mix of the older and the younger. We've got the 2018 under 18 champion from March last year, Joanna Polland, in this race.
Just getting everything all set. They've just reset the timing. Clean start this time. And so look for Catherine Camp to stride towards the front, 800 metres.
Yeah, and I'm unsure whether we have a pacemaker lined up for this one, but it looks like Catherine is going straight to the front, so it most likely is just her versus this Hamilton wind, which is very light. It's actually ideal conditions to be front running today. So she hits the front and goes through that first 200 in a tick under 30 seconds. So that's a good opening for her. And she's already opened up about 5 or 6 metre lead on the pack.
Yeah, looking very comfortable at the moment. As you say, she's been battling a wee bit, but we know that she's absolute class. And of course, there's been that wonderful rivalry. And we talk a lot about rivalries at the moment, but her and Angela Petty out of Christchurch. But Catherine at the moment looking very comfortable as she leads them down, with Christy Solomon slotting in there in second spot as they come down to get the bell with 400 metres to go.
Yeah, Christy Solomon looking nice and composed just there in second place. So 102 for Catherine Camp. So a slight slowing up, as you'd expect. Usually with the 800, you get out nice and strong. And then as we see the shot, just luckily we've got a barrier to protect Jacko Gill's practice shot from bowling into our 800-metre runners. But Catherine Camp just extending that lead, showing the class of this woman. And this, so far, is good signs as we see her just trying to stay relaxed as she hits the death zone in the 800 metres. 200 metres to go.
It was the area that she said used to be her Achilles heel, and then she just flipped it on its head around about 2 to 3 years ago, and it really has become the strength, her ability through the final quarter of an 800-metre race, and we're seeing it at the moment. She's still looking very composed, as you heard Hayden Shearman say, nice and calm, a little bit of anguish starting to show on the face, but she's moving along very nicely at the moment, Catherine Camp.
Yeah, she's moving well, and it's often when you see the shoulders or the arms get all tied up that you know there's internally things going on, but she's going to finish nice and strong. 2:08, it's maybe 2:09. It's not her best time, but a good solid outing and good encouragement going forward as she comes back from that injury woes that she's had over the last 12 months.
Yeah, always a battle, as you see again now, athletes just straight to the deck. Really challenging event. See them go down.
Yeah, if you'd like to improve mental toughness in any area of your life, I often recommend to people to give the 800 metres a try. It's one of those events where the tactics are essentially go as fast as you can for about 500 or 600 metres and then just hang on for dear life. And like you say, Catherine, over the last few years has done great work in building particularly that aerobic capacity. She came in to the 800 and the 1500 as more of a 400 runner. And so she's added more aerobic strength, doing a few cross-country races and some of those longer distance Sunday long runs, just building in that strength, which will help process the oxygen that gets rid of that acidosis that builds up. We talk about the lactic acid. And just your body just starts to not enjoy what you're putting itself through. Now, is this the start of the shot? Are we opening up, or is this
No, it's 6
still
o'clock,
practice?
so we're still
Yep.
just practicing at the moment. As Tom just rips one. That was over 20 metres. We know he's looking for something more significant. Tom, we can confirm Catherine Camp winner of that in a time of 2 minutes 9.27 seconds. Sophia Atkins of Auckland City was second. 2 minutes 12.3. Brianna Lee of Hastings in third spot. And it was Christy Solomon, Olivia Harler, Ruby Barton rounding out the top six. We get ready now for the men's 800 metres. We're just 3 minutes away from the opening throws in the women's hammer throw. And we're just on 7 minutes away from the opening throws in the men's shot put.
Yeah, we've got the, this is going to be the B race for the men's 800 metres. After that will be the permit 800 metres. We're, look out for this one. We've got some names of the future to look out for. So in the B race, we've got Callum O'Keefe from Hawke's Bay Gisborne, Luke Cameron from Hamilton City Hawks, Daniel Roswell from Christchurch Avon, Lewis Young from North Harbour Bays, Noah McDermott from Palmerston North, Michael Dawson from Wesley. Now, I think he's been called into pace, but I was talking to him earlier and he's got some dodgy Achilles, so scratch him. Hector Farmer from Egmont Athletics, Travis Baylor from Whanganui, James Reid from Waitakere Athletics, Max Erks from Egmont Athletics, and Mark Cornager from Hamilton City Hawks. The old boy in the team, coming in with a birth year of 1968. You do the maths.
Right.
Seed time of 2:09. That's going pretty strong.
That's not too bad for someone who's 52 years of age or thereabouts.
I would take that for sure.
So, you see Mark on the field. There you go. Just a reminder. You saw that image come up. New Zealand Track and Field Championships, 5th to the 7th of March. I think we're going to see some special stuff. You just sense something.
Yeah. This is great conditions for 800-metre running. A lot of these guys would do, the cross-country in the winter, and when they turn up to a track to just run 2 laps, there's nothing like being nice and toasty.
There you see the women's hammer throw field. It is, of course, headlined by Julia Radcliffe and the New Zealand record holder Lauren Bruce. Keep an eye out, though, for Nicole Bradley, who's another one on the improve as well. We see a few other athletes who are doubling up, having done some other throwing events. Nadia Kimerich, who was involved in the women's shot put before, she's going round once again. The women's triple jump, by the way, I can tell you, Anna Thompson has the lead in that particular event at the moment with a distance of 12.39. Here's Tom Walsh. He's just warming up at the moment. So he's flinging that again. It's over 20. He's just looking, stalking. It was interesting to hear Tom's comments with regards to he said he wasn't being disrespectful of Jacko, but he says, I'm a better thrower and it's time that I prove it. And so, some real fighting talk from Tom, and I'm sure it wasn't a shot fired at this man that you see on your screen, but I would actually probably suggest it's more to fire himself up, because that's the sort of thing that Tom Walsh would do, as we see Jacko go through, and that one there has actually missed the arc, and that there is heading right for the slushy stand. It has just fallen short of the slushy stand.
I mean, that's an ankle breaker. That's surprising that it slipped out of the stops there, just slightly out of the thrower's arc. But yeah, I mean, if you're running an 800-metre race at full speed and you see a shot coming at you at full speed, 7.25 kg of it.
But that's concerning. I can reassure everyone, by the way, it didn't reach it to the slushy machine, which has a couple of interesting flavours, just as a brief aside. Apparently one of the flavours you can get on the slushy machine is Godzilla.
Okay.
The other flavour is Tiger Blood, the Charlie Sheen special, winning. I thought that was quite interesting. I'm just
saying, if you're an athlete, maybe you want to stay clear of those because drug testing afterwards.
Well, I was fascinated because my son is currently doing a passion project for his school, and he has picked Godzilla because he enjoys those movies. Very excited about the upcoming Godzilla versus Kong. But it just was interesting as to what kind of a flavour Godzilla was.
That's fascinating.
Anyway, back to the track and field as opposed to the culinary options around Porritt Stadium, which are very good, I might add. So at the moment we're just watching some of more of the prize giving as we get set for that 100 metres, and to say we are really getting ourselves set as we are just on start time for the women's hammer. In fact, they are just opening up the throwing cage at the northern end of Porritt Stadium for that particular event. And say the battle of Lauren Bruce and Julia Radcliffe to recommence. 12 months ago, Julia Radcliffe breaking the New Zealand record not once but twice. Since that time, though, we have seen Lauren Bruce really emerge, and she is now currently the New Zealand record holder in that particular event.
Yeah, I was looking through the progression over the last couple of years, and a PB back in 2019 from Lauren Bruce of 63.12. So she's added 10 metres in 2 years. That's incredible. Well, 10 metres in a year and a half. So just, absolutely amazing from Lauren, that progression. She's been putting in a lot of work, and, these things don't come just because you're a talented athlete. They come because you put in the work. You work smart and you work hard, and I'm so pumped about this hammer throw competition.
I think we're going to see a real wonderful group of events coming up to finish off what's been a pretty impressive day already at the Porritt Classic of 2021. It's waiting at the moment for the 800 metres. We've also got 200 metre sprints not too far away as well. I wonder whether there you see the men's shot put. Ryan Ballantyne, Tom Walsh, Jacko Gill, Nick Palmer, Zion Trigger Faitali out of Titahi Bay. So we get ourselves set, and we are still around about a minute or so away and getting things underway. There is the two protagonists in what has been a wonderful battle over the course of the classic season in Athletics New Zealand. So you see some of the other athletes just waiting for the hammer throw to start. You see down there as well the measuring tools that they use, getting everything all set.
Yeah, I just saw another big puff of cloud go up beyond the 20-metre mark from Jacko. These guys will be loving the fact that the temperatures are still hot. There's basically zero breeze. Jacko talking about he likes a tailwind. It gives him that psychological advantage of feeling like he's going to get that extra millimetre from the wind behind the shot. But these guys will certainly wanting to be performing because the peak end of the domestic season is coming. And another puff of dust out beyond the 20-metre mark from Tom. So 2 exciting throws coming up in the evening. This woman on screen, Lauren Bruce.
You see her throw. That was someone not looking. That's a bit of a cardinal sin at track and field. When something's being thrown, always make sure. But I'll tell you right, even though it's not inside the throwing arc, it's a decent distance. And if they start challenging national records, we are going to be in for one fun time. Well, they are 2 athletes in good form. Here's 2 other athletes in good form. Well, here's one, Jacko Gill. So we're not too far away. Jacko with his first throw. It's a good start. No, that's the warm-up still.
Yes,
sorry, excuse me. I thought we'd just gone past 6 o'clock, so I thought maybe that was him getting it underway. Do apologise for that, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, I thought we were in business there, but the cone goes back into the middle of the throwing circle. And so now we are just waiting for the start of the men's shot put. The women's hammer throw also slightly behind at the moment as well. We've got 800 metres on the track. We are getting things underway now with the hammer throw for women. As I say, people that we will be looking out for is going to be Ratcliffe and Bruce. Bradley as well has been making some good steady improvements as well, Nicole Bradley, but I really think everyone is going to be all eyes on the current holder and the former holder. We'll go over now to the triple jump. A few introductions being made as we see Jane and Wenzel with her ace jumps. Anna Thompson still has the advantage, 12.45. Lara Hockley in second spot at the moment in the triple jump, 11 metres flat. Sandra McDonald of the Hamilton City Hawks, 10.92. Not too far away from 800 firing up. Men's shot put, they can't be too far away as well, running just minutely late at the moment.
Yeah, so these 800-metre boys are rearing to go. Remember, this is the B 800 metres, so not the permit event. But expect this to go mid to low 150s. There's some boys in this field who have already run sort of 154. I know that the boy, Max Erks, that's the name I was looking for, out of Egmont Athletics, ran a fantastic 800 metres at the Cook's Gardens a little while ago. As we see Hector Farmer just come up on the shoulder. I'll try and see a bib number of who that is in the lead. Oh, that's Travis Baylor from Wanganui. So just pulling away there from Hector Farmer, wearing number 69. Wearing the Egmont Athletics singlet. And let's see what this pace is as they come up towards 400.
Scooting through at a reasonable sort of clip. Break around 59. Just continuing to scoot away. Here is Tom Walsh.
So this must be the opening.
We are underway. We are about to get underway. So, again, we see that frustration. It's the one thing, you've said it before about these shot putters. They don't hide the emotion. So Tom Walsh gets things underway.
Meanwhile, the 800 boys went through 600 and about 128, 129, so a slight increase on the pace. They've basically hit 29, 30-second 200s the whole way through, and here they come into the last 100. We've got 4 boys all lining up. We've got Daniel Roswell currently leading from Max Erks just on the outside.
It's a great finish.
Oh, I think it is Dan Roswell, just hangs on to it.
Now, we can tell you that Tom Walsh is throwing 21.39. So 21.39 for Tom Walsh. So that's his opening throw. Of course, the other event that we are looking forward to, I should say, the women's hammer throw. You see. Work their way through. I'm not sure whether this is the final set of warm-up throws or whether we are underway. Anything on our timing screen. So Ryan Ballantyne and Jack O'Gill, other athletes. Then you see Jack Lure with his opening throw. And now it is Jack O'Gill.
So 21.52. In his previous outing, that big personal best. His career is heading in the right direction. I really feel he's getting a handle on the senior implement. It's taken him a little while after setting all those international junior records, and here we go.
That's another good start. Managed to maintain his balance too. Didn't step over the stop board. So Jack O'Gill out. Tom Walsh with a 21.39. You see him work his way through, sliding through, maintaining the balance, staying behind the stop board. Yeah, nice little nod to himself. We wait for that distance to come through. But Tom, 21.39 to start. Waiting for the confirmation to come through. Keep an eye at the other end of the venue as well, looking for the women's hammer. 800 metres not far away from getting underway as well. I think we've got Lauren Bruce possibly might be making her way into the hammer throw circle now, just waiting confirmation of this time. 21.32. So
wow.
There we go. So Tom Walsh leads after the first round of throws between he and Jack O'Gill. And so a nice start for Tom, but we know that it's not just about that. There's 5 more attempts. Here's Nick Palmer out of Hastings. He'll be looking forward to the Nationals in 3 weeks' time, performing at home. He's out around that 17 to 18 metre mark as Lauren Bruce makes her way into the throwing circle as the 800 metres.
Yeah, so this is the permit meet. So we've got Josh Nairn on the inside, Logan Cowie, Benjamin Wall, Reese Bishop, James Preston, Hamish Carson was down to do some pacemaking, but he's not there. Alex Bideau, James Harding, Dominic Devlin, James Ford, Luke Hitchcock. So Reese Bishop was the name I was actually looking for in that previous one. So running for Egmont Athletics. He was the one who ran fantastically at the Cook's Gardens a little while ago, but the pace is on. They went through in, I make it about 25, 26 seconds. So we've got, not sure who that is, leading things out. Just took them through 350, but that sets up James Preston for a good time. He ran was at 1:48 at the Potts Classic. He's gone through in 53 seconds. Everyone else lining up behind him. We've got Alex Bideau of the Cook Islands just tucked in there in second place. He won that event at the Cook's Gardens a couple of weeks ago, right on James Preston's heels. James has really been proving himself in the 1500 as well, and those longer distances. But Alex just closing things up now, 600 and 119.
As they work their way through, 150 to go. This is a cracking race. Can they maintain? Coming round to the top, 100 to go. Now coming up onto the outside shoulder. They're going to have to dig it in. He knows he's got a race on his hands now. He fights back. Coming up to the line, it's on the dip. Oh! And who are you giving it to, Hayden? I thought inside, but I've been wrong all day.
I think James might have just taken it on the inside, but that was 4 boys, as my eye saw it, under 150, which is the first time to happen in New Zealand in quite a long time. I mean, last year in 2020, I don't know if we had anyone under 150. So just incredible to see how many boys we got under 150 on that occasion, and a very solid time there from James Preston as we see a replay of Tom Walsh looking to the skies. There it is.
So is that a looking to the sides? Yes, thank you. I finally have. What did you make of that? I felt as though that was, I think I finally got one. We'll find out. His first throw, 21.39. 21.45. So he's tacked on another 6 centimetres. So let's get back here as the women's hammer. So we saw Lauren Bruce throw before. She was around 70 metres just short, but she walked out the front.
So there's Nicole Bradley. So she's got a best of 67.11. So, that's only 6 metres behind Lauren. So within cooey.
So James Preston ran a 147.48. Alex Bideau of the Cook Islands with a 147.85. James Harding's gone 149.18. As those times just start to slowly filter their way through. Julia Radcliffe in her house. Does she like that one or not? Well, around 70-ish. Maybe just shy. So it was, and right on the money too was Hayden Sherman. The first four in that 800 metres, all under 1 minute 50. Dominic Devlin in fourth with a 1:49.49.
Yeah, good to see Dominic getting back under 150. And amazing to see James Harding. So he's the under 18 New Zealand champ from back in March, and in December he was the New Zealand secondary schools champ. So he's certainly one of the young up and comers to keep an eye on. And running sub 150 while you're still in those junior ranks is no mean feat. That's incredible. So great work, all those boys going 150. And make note of those names, because you'll see a lot of them. I think Rod Dixon talked about this at the Cooks Classic, that you'll see these boys stepping up to the 1500. If you can transfer that speed in the 800 over to the 1500, it promises big things. Talking about big things.
Yep, Jack O'Gill. Can he respond to the throw of Tom Walsh? Maintains the balance. That is a good one. That is a good one.
Woo!
Well, first throw was 21.32. Walsh tacked on 6 centimetres with his second throw.
Now, if Terry was in the comments booth here, Terry Lomax, who's given the most expert of expert comments today, I'm sure he would be saying one of the great things that we're seeing from both Jacko and Tom is the fact that this shot put is hitting the left-hand side of the throwing range. And here he is.
You just got a massive thumbs up for that comments from Terry Lomax, so you are absolutely bang on the mark, Hayden Sherman, with your comments.
Which let's see if I was taking notes earlier in the day, which means they're able to get more purchase on the shot put, get more time under tension, and get more power on that shot, and hopefully it's getting them out to those distances. So we're already out beyond 21 metres.
Jacko's gone 21.52. He takes the lead by 7 centimetres.
That equals his personal best, doesn't it? It does.
Oh, we got.
Wow.
Oh, it's game on. It's game on at the Porritt Classic.
I'm going to hand it over to Terry, and I'll grab the mic and give you some sideline analysis.
I think that's a great thing to do. He's been doing a great job. We appreciate Hayden Sherman for his comments. We will send him back down sideline, kit them all out. We got some fun and games on our hand. Nick Palmer there with a foul. We're trying to get the updates at the moment as well from the women's hammer throw. Trying to get those distances for you. Just got nothing going just at the moment. But as soon as we get those up and running, we will bring them to you. For whatever reason, they are just not available for us just at the minute. So we've got us a very, very interesting situation at the moment with Jacko Gill, 21.52. Tom Walsh, 21.45. As they wait, you saw just moving away, that's Liam Unchok-Wolf out of Pukokoi, who's thrown a 13.41. Just trying to get the distances for the women's hammer throw. Moment not coming through. Here is Tom Walsh. Well, the shot is in your court. Young man, what have you got? He's still, is it frustration? Is that what you're seeing, Terry Lomax? It's just there. It's just on the tip of his fingers, literally in this case.
Within touching distance. That's it. You can see he knows what he needs to do, and he just can't quite nail it.
So he started off with a throw of 21.39, followed it up with 21.45. Jacko Gill's gone 21.32 and then throwing 21.52. We wait now for Tom's third throw to be measured. 21.33. So it's a nice set, but you can see the frustration on the face of Tom Walsh because he knows he's better. He knows he's got those distances in there.
And his challenge is avoiding just trying to effort the shot out.
Explain what you mean by that, because I know what my initial interpretation of it is, but when you're saying that, what are you meaning? As in willing it?
Yeah, he has to maintain the patience to go through the throw process, through the technique in the middle of the circle, set himself up so that when he needs to hit the shot, he can. But when you start efforting it, you try throwing before you need to, and that's when it disconnects.
So, Walsh with a 21.33. You'd love to throw 22. So, Nick Palmer now. Notice that Ryan Ballantyne, Nicholas Kinney and Zion Trigger Faitele not competing. So it's just a 5-man field. It's a permanent event. So world ranking points on offer here. Here's Nicole Bradley. As you heard Hayden Sherman say before, with a PB around 67, 6 metres behind Lauren Bruce. So she's getting up there. She's capable. Well, it'd be nice if we could see another athlete throwing 70. Here's Jacko. Got that one out again. Just a bit of a shake of the head, though. There's a legal throw. He's really testing the balance on the stop board at the moment as Jacko Gill. There's Nicole Bradley wandering back, disappointed just over the 60-metre mark, around the 60-metre mark. The live scoring, Jacko 20.95. So his second round throw of 21.52 still stands. And Nick Palmer. Here's Julia Radcliffe stepping in. Trying to... As we just see Julia get herself set. As we say, last year she was dominant.
And of course, the last competition she was in, she got 3 no throws when if she just dropped it out of the circle, it would have got her in the top 8 to have 3 more, but
didn't happen. Well,
didn't
she's
happen.
got this one at the moment. It's Nicole Bradley who leads with 60.54. Julia is just throwing distance which is around sort of that 60-metre mark. Out comes the pitchfork just to replace the difference. There you are, 60.54. So now 65.80. So Julia Radcliffe to the lead over Nicole Bradley at the moment. So just getting everything starting to come through.
Yeah,
200 metres coming through as well.
Lexi Maples in the circle. She's had advanced her personal best by about 4 metres since she started training with Dale Stevenson this year.
There's a man that's working wonders with quite a few athletes in the throwing department. Dale Stevens, of course, initially working a lot with Tom Walsh. Now the stable expanding, and understandably so. So the first 3 rounds are complete in the men's shot put, and it is Jacko Gill with a lead of 51.52, and Tom Walsh in second, 21.45. Jacko with 21 metres 52. Please excuse me. So 3 more throws as we now turn our attention to the 200 metres. They make their way around. Amy Robinson in lane number 4. Tanya Brunger, lane 6. There is Amy Robinson, and she's going to lead them into the back, the home straight with Taylor Brunger in the outside lane. Gina Maples pushing hard in third spot at the moment, but it's Robinson and Brunger. It's a great battle, but Robinson's going to get the job done. Taylor Brunger second. Then I think that was Joanna Pohi coming through possibly. Or was it? Might have actually been Marielle Veneta coming through for third spot, but the first of the 200 metres for women's, and Amy Robertson coming through with the victory.
That's a good double for her after winning the hurdles early this afternoon, winning the B 200 metre race.
24.75 for Amy Robinson. Taylor Brunger 24.94. So after the first round of throws, it is... not after the first round, in the middle of the first round of throws. Julia Radcliffe leading the women's hammer throw. 65.80. This is Caitlin Shepperson. Yeah. Now as they reverse the starting order, it is Liam Unchok-Wolf. Jack Lua has already thrown a foul with his 4th attempt. Here's the young man out of Pukekohe Athletics. Best throw so far was his opening throw of 13.77. A little bit of a shake of the head, not overly chuffed with what he's doing there. Nick Palmer's just had the one legal throw. 17.79, 17 metres, 79 centimetres. Then followed that up with 2 fouls.
So he started off with a personal best by a couple of centimetres in that first round, and obviously he's just tried a bit too hard in those next 2 rounds to get a bit further.
So I know that Hayden Sherman is moving down towards the shot put area. We'll get some comment from him after the final 2 throws of Jacko and Tom in this particular round. This is the 4th rotation. Here's Nick Palmer trying to extend on his 17.79. A little tap of the head. He's not overly chuffed with that. Now Tom Walsh closes the eyes. See him. Really focused. Here's the New Zealand record holder. As we go quickly to the next of the 200 metres, and this features Zoe Hobbs in lane number 4, and Zoe is absolutely flying around that bend, leading them in. Georgia Hulls is on the outside of her, but this is Zoe Hobbs. She's getting challenged, though. They're starting to come at her late down the out. It's going to be... I think Georgia Hulls has got her.
That's 2 weeks in a row that she's been able to...
Tom Walsh. Back. Does he like that one? Nice. Not sure. Go back for that time, but yet Georgia Hulls now. This is Lauren Bruce. Gee, it's all happening. That's a good throw, and I think that could be a throw that puts her into the lead. Remember, it was 65.8. Julia Radcliffe. Geez, which way do you look, Terry Lomax? Crikey.
You can't afford to blink. You'll miss it.
Can't afford to blink at all. We're waiting for Tom Walsh's throw to come up. 21.41. So it's a real consistent set. 21.39, 21.45, 21.33, 21.41. But you just know the big man ain't going to be happy.
No. Again, it's like we're saying with Val. A good level of consistency at a high standard, but looking for that spike performance.
Georgia Hulls, 23.78. Zoe Hobbs second in 23.89. And then Natasha Eddy, 23.94. So 3 athletes under 24 is Jacko back in the circle. Can he put a bit more pressure on? I know he was too chuffed with that. The form didn't look great as he was losing his balance towards the end, but as Hayden Shearman pointed out, it is to the left side of the throwing arc.
Which is fine as long as you're in balance when you do it. But if it happens because you've lost balance, which I think may have been the case there with Jacko, he just fell off to the left a wee bit and lost contact with the shot.
He has actually fouled that one as well, so there will be no measurement required. We see Georgia Hulls get Zoe Hobbs. Zoe earlier in the day, 11.39. The New Zealand record, 11.32 of Michelle Seymour's. That's very close in that one there, though. Georgia Hulls getting over the top.
Well, the advantage that Georgia has, of course, she has a strong background in 400 metres, which, as you see at the end of that race, she was able to maintain her form right through to the end, whereas Zoe was pretty much hitting the brick wall and the technique was starting to fall apart, and that's what cost her in the end.
So we continue to work our way through this as we look for the confirmation, and Lauren Bruce with her first round throw has gone into the lead. It was 68.66 for Lauren. Julia Radcliffe is in second. She's throwing 65.8, and Nicole Bradley in third spot, 60.54. So I think we're going to head down to Hayden Shearman, and I think he might actually have Georgia Hulls with him. So we will just confirm that. He's just getting everything all set up, and I think Hayden will very shortly be in a situation where we can throw down to him. So Georgia Hulls with a nice win in the 200 metres as we continue to look left, right and centre. And at the moment, just a wee break in play down in the hammer throw area. Hayden Shearman stands. We wait. Hopefully we can head down to Hayden very, very shortly. And we will get an interview as Nick Palmer is throwing. And now we've also got some action as well in terms of the 200. As I said, where to look, honestly don't know. This is a good run coming through here.
Jake Paul.
That was Jake Paul. So they feel that was very reduced. Jake out of the Kiwi Athletics Club. Back to Nicole Bradley. So,
red flag.
So that is Nicole straight away, trying to see whether we can head down to if Hayden Shearman is in a position to take that interview at the moment. We'll just see if he is. I think we might be able to go down to Hayden Shearman, who's with the Georgia Hulls.
Absolutely. So I've got here who I believe, and can you guys confirm this, Georgia Hulls took out the 200 metres. Can we just get confirmation from that?
Yep, confirmation.
All right, and have we got a time up there?
We will find that out for you because Tom Walsh is just throwing angrily in the ring.
23.79.
There we go, 23.79.
All right, so 23.79 and the win, Georgia Hulls. How does that feel now that you've just had it confirmed?
Better now it's confirmed, yeah.
Awesome. And how were the conditions out there? You took out the 200 metres last week in Christchurch, freezing cold conditions, and now it's a bit balmy and nice for 200 metre running.
Yeah, we're definitely getting there. Yeah, a bit of a nasty headwind last week.
Yeah.
No, pretty perfect tonight. Maybe a little bit warmer, but no, it was nice.
And that's pretty close to your personal best off the top of my
Not
head?
too far. Yeah, I've said 23.53 sort of, I think, around there.
Yeah. And how does it feel having Zoe, like she went out very, very hard at the start, and probably good to have someone to chase?
Oh, always. I mean, I spend like 6-7 days a week chasing her, so it's not new.
Yeah. And so what's next? Are you going to do the 4x1 tonight?
Yeah. So that's about just under an hour, I think, from now. So it's pretty exciting.
Cool. And talk us through what's the big goal for the 4x1s? What are we trying to get out of the season?
This season, obviously, is a bit up in the air. So just running as fast as we can with the girls. Resident record would be nice. Yeah. So I think that's sort of the aim at the moment.
What is that off the top of your head?
44.60, I believe.
That's the time to watch, everyone. I'll hand it back to you. Go and get warmed up / for the next one. And well done. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much. I'll see you later.
Cool.
You can also pass on to her that that's actually a meeting record. In the interim, we've just seen Julia Radcliffe throw 71.39. She now leads. She leads. Now, I think if memory serves, last year she threw that and broke a New Zealand record.
Yes.
Not even close to the New Zealand record now. That's what the progression in that is. When we look at the 200 metres, Edward Osai and Ketia going for the 100, 200 double. Big Eddie going to get the job done. Good challenge, though, by Shea Veach on the inside. So he's got that job done as well. So Edward with the time there. Now we go back. There's one more throw for each athlete left in the men's shot put. I can tell you that Jack Lure out of Palmerston North has just thrown 10.87. And he's one of the para-athletes at the moment. Jacko Gill leading 21.52. Tom Walsh second, 21.45. Jacko's just thrown 21.45 with his fifth. Tom Walsh 21.14.
So he needs to hit 21.53 to take the lead.
Here is Liam Nchuk-Wolf out of Pukekohe Athletics. He's been a little bit frustrated. He takes off the supports. Palmer working through things in his head.
Of course, Liam is actually an under 20 athlete, so he normally throws a 6 kg, so to step up to 7.26 is a bit more of a challenge.
Edward Osai and Ketia won in a time of 21.46, and then Tommy Tapuni was in second. So Radcliffe at the moment with the lead over in the hammer. We're waiting for Lauren Bruce for her response. Here is Nick Palmer, final throw of 6th. He's in third spot. Get good ranking points for that. They're a little frustrated there. A little clap of the chalked hands on the forehead. And that'll come through. And I think you'll find that the 17.91 will be his best of the day for Nick Palmer. But Tom Walsh is the man that we need to be keeping our eye on, because he's got one last chance to get ahead of Jacko Gill. Otherwise, it would be a 4th consecutive defeat for Tom to Jacko.
And wouldn't we like to see Tom overtake Jacko and force Jacko to throw even further?
Well, big athletes delivering big moments, and even though some will say, well, it's just the Porritt Classic, trust me, this is a big moment right here for Tom Walsh. He stayed behind. Not sure. There's disappointment. He acknowledges he's not a happy camper. He needs 21.53. There's a nice little, just saw it just off screen, just gives a nice little playful push to Jacko. There is Lauren Bruce stepping into the circle. Waiting for this measurement. 21.11. Jacko Gill gets what they call a swag run. Here's Lauren Bruce trying to respond to the throw of Julia Radcliffe. Around that 70-metre mark. Wait for that distance to come through. Here is Jacko Gill, knowing that he has won It's a nice series of throws for Jacko, just the one foul. Acknowledges the crowd. We sit and wait for the final measurement. It's around that late 20s. Maybe early 21s. Just the one foul for Jacko Gill. 71-75. Lauren Bruce says, have some of that, Julia Radcliffe. Great comp. Great comp.
Hammer's a great event when the momentum starts going.
Wow. We were talking about it earlier. Julia Radcliffe last year spoke about how nice it was to break that record in her house. Lauren Bruce is now bashing down the door of her house. 21.03 for Jacko Gill, but it was his second throw. 21 metres 52, which has given him a fourth consecutive victory over Tom Walsh, whose second throw was also his best throw. That was 21.45. So the frustration continues for Big Tom. We turn our attention now back to the track as we are watching a 200 metres run, and that is Samantha Crock of North Harbour Bays who has come through. Let's go down to Hayden Sherman, who looks like he's got Jacko Gill standing alongside him.
I do have Jacko Gill alongside me, another equaling of your personal best. Man, what a consistent summer you're tuning out, and a fourth scalp over Tom Walsh. How are you feeling, man?
Yeah, really happy. Would have liked a bit further today, but really happy with the result. To beat Tom is always an honour. So
yeah, absolutely, and nice and consistent today. You wanted a little bit more out of the day. So sort of talk us through kind of where those sites are, and sort of talk us through like what's to come on the road to Tokyo.
I have Waitakere in 2 weeks, and they have nationals, and then just training hard, and really want to go to Europe. So hopefully we can get over to Europe this year, and Tokyo as well. So just looking forward to competing more and hopefully going overseas.
Awesome. Have you got a date in mind to head overseas?
No, I don't. Probably like June or something like that. I think the Olympics are in August, early August, so maybe like a month and a half or something,
Yeah, well done for the display you've been putting on all summer long. It's been awesome seeing that improvement curve coming, and hoping for some more big bombs going out beyond that 21 metre mark over the rest of the summer.
Yeah, definitely. No, thank you so much. Yeah,
awesome.
Cool, thank you.
Well done, Jacko.
There you go. He's a very happy young man, and no doubting the reasons why. Another victory for Jacko Gill in the Classics season. And whilst we've got every right to look admirably at that particular young man, Terry Lomax, can you see just what's not clicking with Tom at the moment?
I think it comes back to what I was talking about earlier in the day about where the trajectory of their training is. And it doesn't mean that Tom shouldn't be going there trying to beat Jacko, but he has to understand that where he's at, he's not at his peak, not at his peak level of performance, and it's dampened a wee bit by the training load he's doing.
But he looks frustrated when he's stepping out of the circle, because we know he's a competitor. Exactly. Now. I understand that, he's in that particular part of his training program and the loads and that sort of thing. But I guess one thing that I'm thinking of is the body language. I guess that he's displaying is...
He's frustrated.
Yeah.
He's frustrated because
because he should be throwing more?
I think he feels that he's capable of throwing further than he is. And every time it doesn't happen, it just builds the frustration. But that's the thing about competing at the level that these guys have to compare. They have to be able to deal with that and overcome it. And at the moment, he's not overcoming it. And Jacko's on top. And like I said, 3 weeks to go to Nationals. Long time between drinks.
Oh, my goodness. Bring that on. Bring that on. I tell you what, this battle here is an absolute beauty. So Julia Radcliffe responded with 71.39 to take the lead after Lauren Bruce threw 68.66. Lauren Bruce has gone out and thrown 71.75. Last year, of course, Julia Radcliffe broke the New Zealand record, so it makes it the meeting record as well, 72.35. We've since seen Lauren Bruce throw 73 to take the New Zealand record. Third throw for Julia Radcliffe. works her way through. There, be around the 70 mark, maybe a smidge under. See a little bit of a screwing up of the nose.
It's a contender, but it's probably not further.
She looks and has a wee chat. There's a smile, though, always enjoys her work. And whether Coach Dave, I'm sure, will be lurking around somewhere. I haven't seen the wide-brimmed hat just yet, but I'm sure that's not far away. Seeing 69 metres, 87 centimetres, the third throw for Julia Radcliffe. So her second throw remains the best thus far. Non-plus look on the face there of Lauren Bruce as you saw that scoreboard just turned her way.
It's a good sign. It means that she's concerned about what she's doing, not about what Julia's doing, and because there's only one person allowed in the circle at any one time.
So Lexi Maples was next in the circle. We head over now to the triple jump, which is happening on the far side, in addition to the women's hammer throw. At the moment, it's Anna Thompson with the advantage. Third jump of 12.64 metres gives her the advantage over Diana Ismailova with 11.78. Then Jane and Winsor with Winsey, I should say, 11.25. We're just getting set. Is underway. Back with a 200 metres. Outside, that is Jaden Baker, I should say. Lane number 6. And looks like the young fella from Mattamat is going to score himself a win here. Time around mid-23s.
And a high jumper in third place there. Good to see.
Always looking out. We go back. This is a jump of Jane in Winsey out of Auckland City.
So Anna Thompson's been the leading triple jumper this season. Nobody's really got near her. Deanna's been the next closest out over 12, but no one else has got over 12 this season. So it's not surprising that Anna's there, but if she's got a personal best in the 1290s, she'll be wanting further than that in what are very good conditions.
Caitlin Shepperton, our next thrower in the women's hammer. There around the 40-metre mark. Caitlin has been throwing around the 40s, a best so far of 40.26. So go back over to the triple jump. Diana Ismailova, European Gold Athletics Club. And fouls that one. So her best, which is her second jump of 11 metres 78, still stands.
She won the Auckland Championships last weekend with a jump around the 12-metre mark, so she's in good form.
Back into the throwing circle. Centane Duckworth on the throw, and that one there going to stay, just stays inside the arc. Back over to the triple jump we go. That is Anna Thompson of Mana Athletics Club. There's Lauren Bruce not too far away from stepping in. So Anna's put together a really nice set of jumps prior to that one. So 12.39, 12.45, 12 metres 64, 12.45, 12.41. Nice and consistent. Fouls on the last one, but it was that third jump that got the job done, and comfortably so, Terry.
And how many times today have we seen athletes with those very consistent performances around the same sort of level, which is what you want 3 weeks out from Nationals. You want consistency. You want it to be a high level, but you're always wanting to have that one big effort, and maybe we'll see that in the circle with Lauren Bruce now, trying to press her advantage.
Yep, she's got the advantage at the moment. 71 metres 75 with her second throw, overtaking Julia Radcliffe, 71.39. Like that one, just walks straight out the front. She still leads at the moment. Very stony-faced, not giving away too much. So
she would have felt on turn 3 there that she just didn't have control of the hammerhead, and it was starting to control her. And as soon as that happens, you can't do much about it, because that ball's got a lot of force off the end of that wire when you've had 3 turns.
Yep, it's another one of those really interesting events in terms of the dynamics and the movement of it. And I jokingly say, if you want to find out what it feels like to a degree, grab an old iron, go out into the backyard, swing it around a few times and just try and go as fast as you can, and then realise exactly when it pulls you off your feet, sort of what you're dealing with. Well, think of that exposed to a few more degrees when you're throwing an actual hammer.
Iron.
Yeah. So as we're getting set here now for more 200-metre events, they continue to work their way through. So in the front at the moment, it is the shot put. Tom Walsh with the space for rent. And Jack O'Gill. 4th in a row against Tom. And continues. Right, working on those PBs. Pretty happy fella. There are a few photos coming in. And Tom goes, I know where the photos are. Just stay with me, son. I know how this works. Looks over. I'm sure Alan McDonald will be taking those photos. I'm trying to see as we get everything set. There's the 200-metre start point over there. As we look at the field, Mark Lambert, lane number 2. Dominic Overend, lane 3. George Kozlov, 4. Ollie Kirshner of Mana is in 5. Ethan Wallace, Matamata in 6. Kurt Sweeney, Hamilton City Hawks in 7. And Flynn Johnston out of Wanganui. He's in lane 8, having seen Flynn earlier in the day set a PB. And they're away. For Kirshner, who had a good run earlier in the day. Nice work by Sweeney. There is Kirshner starting to come through. Likewise, Dominic Overend. Kozlov inside, but it's Kirshner and Overend. Kirshner starting to work his way forward. And Ollie Kirshner is going to come through. Good victory for Dominic Overend. George Kozlov comes in 3rd spot. As we wait for the times to pop up. A good victory for Ollie Kirshner. 22.13 for Oliver. You see, latest throw from Caitlin Shepperson, excuse me. 41.98 was her last throw, which has been her best so far. So just been steadily on the improve through her first lot of 3 throws. 38.75, 40.26, then a 41.98. As we wait to see what this next throw is. Again, making the adjustments. That's 41.21, so consistent from Caitlin at the moment, but it's her 3rd throw. That is the best. As we make our way back over to the next lot of 200 metres for our para-athletes. One still to come. We've got a 1,500 metres permit event for women. Then we've got relay racing to complete. It's the one field event going at the moment, but it's already a beauty, and we're only 3 throws in. Still got 3 throws to go between Lauren Bruce and Julia Radcliffe. So in that 200 metres, we've got Daniel Atchison. She'll be in lane number 2. Gina Hill in 3, Anna Stevens 4, Patty Walsh in 5, and Gabrielle Wright in lane 6. It's a 200-metre para dash. It's like the, see Lauren Bruce just in the centre of your screen there. Just sitting down, very focused, very calm. Looks like she's in a very good space, got a good routine with how she gets through. She's obviously not getting overly emotional or enthused in any way, as that one there comes back off the cage. So it's good control. She looks very much in control of herself, does Lauren.
Yes, it's like we're sitting here waiting for those two to start going again, aren't we? We know that that's where the action is. Yeah, an athlete like Nicole Bradley who's throwing reasonably well, but just waiting for that next level of performance, because we know that it's basically a head-to-head contest we're looking at here.
Yeah. Well, we know Nicole is capable because she has thrown a 67 before, but at the moment when you look at it, Nicole in third spot, she's 60 metres, 54 centimetres, but you're looking at the next two. One's throwing 71 metres, 75. The next one's 71.39. So there you go. There's the first look at the first three throws. Now, of course, they now reverse that order. Top 8, and it's 3 more throws for them, but they will go in ascending order. So smallest to the largest throwers. So Radcliffe and Bruce will be the finals. We're just waiting for Bradley to step in. Lexi Maples has just had her fourth throw.
I think Lexi's third round throw was a personal best. 50. I don't think she's gone over 53 before, so she'll be pleased with that.
And there we go, 50.89 for Lexi with her fourth throw. Here is Nicole Bradley as we switch back to the track. The para 200s. Atchison in lane number 2. Oh, a little bit of an issue there. Hill in lane number 3. The blue crop top there, that's Anna Stevens in 4. Paddy Walsh in 5. Gabrielle Wright is in lane number 6. As everything gets set. Gina Hill not choosing to use the starting blocks. Here's Julia Radcliffe, who's waiting for Nicole Bradley. It's waiting for this race to start. And they're underway. Atchison making up good ground on the bend. Anna Stevens. They get round to this home straight with 100 metres to go, but Danielle Atchison with the advantage at the moment. And running very nicely in front of her home crowd is Danielle, but Anna Stevens coming at her very late. Can Danielle hold on? It's going to be close to the finish. Danielle's going to get there. And Anna Stevens coming through in second spot. And we come back to Paddy Walsh. And now it's Gabrielle Wright making her way down in lane number 6. And then Gina Hill as they work their way through to the end. And there's Gabrielle over the line. Here comes Gina. There's Nicole Bradley. Makes her way back into the throwing cage at the northern end of Porritt Stadium. Clouds just come over a little bit. Still really lovely conditions though. Excuse me, that's actually Julia Radcliffe. Excuse me. That's decent.
It's interesting, that time she threw to the left-hand side of the sector. Her previous throws have been out on the right-hand side.
Okay, now, so you were talking about the shot putters before pulling to the left-hand side of the sector. Same theory then for the thrower for the throw for Julia?
The hammer. Yep. Because you want the longest amount of time working on the ball, working on the hammer in this case. And if it goes out to the right, you've released it earlier. Simple as that.
So we'll see. You go 70.62 for Julia Radcliffe, 70.62. Now, Lauren Bruce, it will be the opposite because she throws from the opposite side. So, we say left-handed?
Yeah,
is that the way to describe it? Left and right-handed?
Yeah, left-handed thrower.
Yep, okay, that's cool. So, she settles in. She has the advantage, 71.75. That is your New Zealand record holder right there. Generating good speed. Releases that one going more down the centre of the arc. And that will be around that 70 metres, though they're just a wee puff of the cheeks, maybe suggesting it's not to her full liking.
It's very much a balance event, this one, even though you're dealing with all these forces trying to throw you out of the circle. You still have to have a level of balance. And Lauren, with her background of gymnastics, is a very good sport to to come from for this in terms of awareness of your, where you are in space, where your limbs are in space.
Good run by Mitch Joint there, sub 24 second it looked like. 70.72 for Lauren Bruce. We just saw those para-athletes coming through over the line. Mitch Joint it was. There we see Jaden Mulvold coming through to finish that one off. But Mitch Joint, very good performance from the man in lane number 3. And now as we head back, as Terry sort of alluded to it, we're not being disrespectful to the other athletes, but we really are just waiting for the other throwers to cycle through so we can get back to Julia Ratcliffe versus Lauren Bruce. There you go. It's good throwing, both of them starting off sort of in the 60s, but then Julia came out through 71.39, but Lauren Bruce responded about 4 throwers later, going 71.75. So there you see Portia Bing getting set. We've got some relays coming up. We've also got a 1,500 metre permit event, women's 1,500 metres. So as we just work through, there's Caitlin Shepperson with her next throw. So on our schedule, we've got a 1,500 metres for women down, and then we've got 4x100 metres for women and a 4x100 metres for men. We've got 2 throws left for the remaining competitors in the women's hammer. As I say, at the moment, it's Lauren Bruce holding the advantage. See the hard-working staff there of Athletics New Zealand working the scoreboards. A reminder, though, that you can actually have the live scoring system in your house as well, live.athletic.net. Athletic Live, the name of the website. Head there, you'll see all the events. You can just scroll through, get the distances, the times. Shortly after the athletes either finish their throw or roll through the line. Great way to keep up with it. So you've got your Sky Next over there. You've got your live scoring over here. And the world's a beautiful place as they work their way through some baton changes as well. Let's work through. How was that, says Portia. It was okay. What is the key, Terry Lomax? Because as I've said, I think we were talking about in the morning session, Terry Lomax providing the expert analysis. Hayden Sherman is somewhere. He's lurking around. I hope he hasn't gone down to find out what the Godzilla slushy takes like after my diatribe on it earlier on today. What is the key to a good baton change? Because it looks like it should be simple, yet we have seen and we know that pressure is a strange, funny old thing at the highest level, but we have seen so many times something that looks simple, looks so convoluted. What is the key, athletics coach Terry Lomax, to a good baton change?
It's about giving and receiving. You have to receive, not take. So you have to put your hand back in a position where the person giving the baton can give it to a nice, still target. And as long as that target is still and in position, the baton can be given, and then the athlete can run away. What sometimes happens is the outgoing runner gets a bit anxious and starts reaching and trying to take the baton, and there you've got 2 things moving. So, and then the other thing is keep it moving. Don't let the baton stop. The baton should just continue through. It's not a case, and you see it in kids' athletics, right? They run up to each other, they stop, they say hello, ask how the day's been, then they hand it over and they start running again. Well, these athletes want to keep that baton moving at the pace that they're running continuously through. And it's a simple process. It's just sometimes it's not done well.
So give and receive.
Yep.
A great philosophy for life as well,
Yeah.
it has to be said too. So as we look around, you see the athletes getting ready in the background for the relays. We've got Nicole Bradley, there you see them, getting set for the 4x100 metres relays. Always fun. I've no idea where Hayden Sherman's gone to. There he is. There he is. He's over the far side. We've got him. He's a pig in mud over there, having a great time as we watch Nicole Bradley get ready for her next throw. We'll come to Hayden very shortly, as that one there is into the cage and a little frustration and a bit of a giggle. But she remains in 3rd spot at the moment. Let's head down to Hayden, who's just enjoying, relaxing, watching them work on the baton chains over there and watching some really good hammer throwing.
Absolutely, and it's been great viewing. This is such an intriguing contest as we get down to the business end. I've been catching up with a few different athletes. Had a good chat to Anna Thompson, our triple jump winner. She was happy about her performance today. And interesting, all the different factors that come into it. She was saying that
just lost Hayden there just for a brief moment. Do apologise for that. It's just cutting out as Julia Radcliffe launches one. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. Terry Lomax sitting beside me, and he is nodding his head.
Yeah, you see left side of the sector.
Here we go. I'm sure if the receiver was working, Hayden Shearman would have said exactly the same thing. Hayden, am I correct? Left side of the sector?
Yeah, that one was looking good, and she's had a good look at it. I'm very interested to see she's gone over to the scoreboard to make sure this is a good one.
Well, she's chasing 71, 75, 71, 18. So not as good as her second throw of 71.39.
Sets her up well for the last round because she knows that she's not far away.
So Lauren Bruce now. Just had the one foul throw, started with 68 metres 66, then through 71.75, which leads the comp at the moment. Then the foul, then 70.72. Now good Hayden Shearman to have the hammer throws. We'll let Lauren get through her work before we go to Hayden. Now good to have the hammer throw. It's one of the really pinnacle events. A lot of people having moved their way down and watching this wonderful battle. Bruce releases.
Yeah, that one just clipping the cage on the way out, but still managing a good distance. Picks up the white flag there, and as you say, there's the embankment's full of people with their phones out recording every throw. There's a passion throws support in New Zealand, as we know, and that those fans keep growing thanks to all these fantastic performances that these ladies are putting out.
So there you see on our screen, we've got the athletes getting ready. We've got relays coming up. That's the 1500 metres competitors that you saw just working their way through at the moment. So 67.80 for Lauren Bruce with her fifth throw. Now remembering that did just clip the cage as well. So getting out to 78 metres and clipping the cage, as we heard from Hayden Shearman, that's a decent sort of distance. As we see Nadia Kumarich, who was also competing in the shot put earlier on, with her final throw. Best throw so far is 41.06 as we see the 1500 metres. Field, this features Camille Buscombe, Catherine Camp in there as well. Camille at the moment has been in really good form. Camille being, obviously we know her more as we see the hammer throw progressions on your screen there. Camille, of course, we know is already locked into the Olympic Games qualification for 5 and 10,000. Doing a lot of 1500 and 800s and been doing it very well too. You see Camille, she is fourth in from the right of your screen. And Catherine Camp on the extreme outside. We've already seen Catherine run in 800 metres.
I think Catherine's acting as the pacemaker
for this
race after having done her individual 800 metres. It's a sign of the good cooperation that's going on in our middle distance running. The athletes, our top athletes who could be competing against each other, are happy to go out and help.
Well, I think we just see this all the way through the track and field community. I mean, it really is. We talk about the family component and that sort of thing, and obviously there are lots of families involved in it, but it really does look like if it's a case of someone will say, hey, do you need this? Do you need this? Yes, I can help you out with that there. Nick Willis, obviously, is a big one for this sort of thing. He talks about, was it the very friendly running club? Yep. I think was one of the things. So, as Catherine Camp does lead them through the first 300 metres in this 1500. This is a permit event as well. So I don't know if we'd see if Camille could qualify. Would she do a 15-5-10 triple a day at the Olympic Games?
But she's one athlete who's actually taken advantage of the situation she's had. She's come back from Europe. She's had to stay in New Zealand, but what it's allowed her to do is to run all of these sorts of races. If she was over in Europe, she may not get those sorts of opportunities, but here she can run a race like a 1500 here, someone will pace it for her, not just for the field, but for her and for Rebecca Green, who's currently in third place. So I think she's taken great advantage of the opportunities that have been available with the meets around here, and she's performing brilliantly.
So there you see Camp leading them through at the moment. Buscombe in second spot, as you say, Rebecca Green, Hill City University Club, just rolling along very, very nicely in that third spot at the moment. As we look back to fourth, that's Cara McDermott, and that quartet has made a nice break as they come through. 700 metres complete. We'll get round to the 800 metre mark and we'll get a bit more of a split there, and Catherine moving along very nicely at the moment. Buscombe looking very comfortable in that second spot. We go through 800, around 2:15, and Catherine, having completed her second 800 for the day, she steps to one side. And so now it's up to this trio of Buscombe, Green and McDermott.
And last week the race was set up for Rebecca to win it, and the pacemaking was set up for her, but Camille ran her down at the end of the race, and so she'll be looking to exact a bit of revenge, I'd imagine. That it's rivalry still. It might be friendly, but it's still rivalry.
Yeah, well, it will be very interesting because obviously Camille Buscombe running out of the Hamilton Hawks Club, so she will be thinking that, well, this is home. I'm not going to let this imposter get a win over me. Let's see what happens though as we come down. Bell lap about to come, and they're just starting to spread Cara McDermott back a little bit. So Buscombe leads them through from Rebecca Green as they go around the top bend. 350 to go on this 1,500 metres. It's a permanent event, so ranking points are on the line, and Buscombe looking very comfortable as they go round with 300 to go in this one. Green sitting nicely. Bit of a gritting of the teeth there from Camille Buscombe. Now here comes a bit of a push from Green with 250 to go. Buscombe continues to stride along. Green trying to make a little bit of ground on her. She eases up 200, just on 200 to go. Still Buscombe with that advantage from Green. McDermott starting to fall back into the clutches. Third place is in a little bit of challenge, but it's all about 1-2. This is all about Buscombe and Green at the moment.
It's going to happen.
Clinch on the boot. Here's Green trying to move to the outside. Buscombe gritting her teeth. She does not want to lose at Porritt Stadium. She ain't going to lose at Porritt Stadium. Her fiancé Cam French got the W earlier. Now Camille Buscombe does exactly the same, and that's a heck of a run, heck of a race. Rebecca Green second. And we work our way through to the next lot. McDermott actually coming in fourth spot. I've just missed who came through in third there. But Buscombe over Rebecca Green. And what a cracking race. A cracking race. Let's head back. Here is Julia Ratcliffe, excuse me. She is back. One throw. What does she think of that one? I don't think it's going to be enough, Terry.
It's going to be around the 70-metre mark again, but yes, as you said, not quite enough.
It's extraordinary how things change. Remember interviewing Julia maybe 2 years ago, and that 70 mark was the goal. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about an athlete 2 years advanced. It was actually just prior to the Commonwealth Games, 2 years advanced, and 70, all of a sudden 70 metres is just, it's so-so, it's ho-hum.
You expect to do that. It's just a base level performance for her now.
68-83. So Julia Ratcliffe will finish second. That one will sting a little bit. She said before, she really does take a lot of pride in this particular venue. So Lauren Bruce, with what they call in the X Games a swag run. She can just go out there, leave it out, have some fun if she wants to. But you just know she will still want to complete the series, which has been a nice set of throws.
Well, she's got the freedom to go for it. There's no pressure on it. She can have a go.
And she has had a go. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I thought that one was going. I was watching the lady with the measuring stick take a half step back. She thought she was going to be wearing that one, and she was well behind the 70, but It'll be a 70-metre throw. And victory as well for Lauren Bruce, the New Zealand record holder. 71 metres, 75 with her second throw. That is held up nicely. She has not thrown 78. Everyone just pump the brakes on that one just a smidge. 73. Oh, hang on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they were signalling to the officials to keep the mark in.
73.22. 73.22. Her New Zealand record is 73.47. She has just broken the meeting record, which was set 12 months ago by Julia Radcliffe. Let's have another look at this one. Talk it through us.
So she wanted to control the hammer, not let it control her. On the downswing, she wants to stay down as the hammer's going up, not get taken up with it, so that she can keep applying force. The only time you can accelerate the hammer is on the downswing. So it's got to meet. It's a wee bit like a golfer. A golfer wants to meet the ball at the bottom of his swing, or her swing.
Right, here we go. Now they're bringing out
steel tape,
the old school measure. Reason for that?
Well, it's normally to ratify a record. So
they're saying that they're
perhaps her earlier throw hasn't been ratified yet.
Okay.
And until it's ratified, it's not the record.
Ah,
and
right.
Therefore,
There we
they've got
go.
to ensure that they still do it as if it was a record.
That's interesting. That earlier one was on the 20th of September last year. I thought it would have been well and true. It's in it's in the New Zealand. It's on the New Zealand Athletics page. You're looking to see. I don't know. This is an interesting one. It's still a great throw. 73 metres, 22. That is emphatic. That is my victory. As now you see, again, that community that you heard Terry Lomax allude to. There's Lauren Bruce and Julia Radcliffe share a little bit of a chat, and I'm sure Hayden Sherman is lurking around there somewhere. Actually, where he is he is down there with the winner of the 500 metres, Camille Buscombe.
That's right, the winner of the 1500 metres, who's a happy girl. So she's just pulled off a personal best. We've just worked it out. We didn't quite know what her personal best was, but it's a personal best by about 0.5 of a second. Well done, Camille Buscombe.
Oh, thanks so much.
So the 1500 metre is not your specialty event, but this summer has allowed you to do a bit more of the 800s and 1500s. How's that going? How are you enjoying the shorter stuff?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the change of pace and the change of laps, rather than just being out there for ages and it feeling quite relaxed for say the first half, about practicing actually being kind of in pain sort of from the gun. And so it's still something I'm almost struggling with, like being one or two laps in and actually being really tired. Yeah. Usually your lap sort of 7 before you start to hurt. So yeah, it's been quite good mentally, and it's also quite a good challenge with obviously the girls here. Got some good competition, particularly with Rebecca and then Kat, although she paced us today, but she's also right up there. So it's been quite a cool few weeks.
Now, what does this mean? PBing in the 1500 metres, your specialty events are in the 5 and 10K. Does that give you a little bit more confidence going into that Northern Hemisphere summer, thinking that, now I've got a little bit more kick up my sleeve?
Yeah, no, it's good to keep the speed in my legs. I think I've got a lot faster in me in the 1500 and in the 800. The last 800 we did in the weekend was really windy, so I think I've got a couple of seconds in that race. And then the 1500 today was really awesome, but again, I front ran the last part of the race. I think if I'd been in a group, I could have just squeezed closer to that 410. And then obviously the goal was under 410, but it's a good stepping stone, considering I don't feel I'm in the best shape of my life, but I feel like I'm running well, consistent. So I think at this stage I'm kind of in a good position to build on that for the next few months into obviously July for Tokyo. So. Totally.
And this is your hometown track. How did it feel to do that? And then second, where to next?
Oh, cool. No, I love. I really like running here.
Yeah.
It's an awesome track. I do a lot of training here. And I didn't really know what I was coming into today, what to expect. Obviously, you always the goal is always to win or run a PB, but you never know how it's going to go, so you got to set it up. So we asked the pacemaker to try go through pretty quick, and she ran through exactly on time. But I was feeling quite tired, I guess. So I really tried to keep the momentum going and try and go for the win. And then as a result, Rebecca was so close behind me, it really pushed me that extra, and so yeah, I think that's why I got the PB.
Yeah, absolutely, and big props to Rebecca for staying right on your heels for so long. Yeah. We'll go and rest up, and we'll be looking forward to Graham Douglas is the next one.
Yeah, so 2 weeks' time, I have another 1500. So
nice.
Maybe I can get closer to the 410. We'll see.
There we go. Maybe 404. What do you reckon? New Zealand record?
Maybe not in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
maybe not in 2 weeks.
We'll go for the 410 to start with. Okay. Well done, Camille, on your home track, showing everyone how it's done in the 1500.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Cool.
Awesome.
There you go, Hayden Shearman with Camille Buscombe. Yeah, just baby steps, Hayden. Baby steps for Camille. Okay, she's doing very well though. We've got confirmation of that distance for Lauren Bruce. It is 73.22, so 73 metres 22. By the way, Camille, as was pointed out, won the 1500 metres, not the 500 metres, as the goose on the microphone stated when throwing down to Hayden, who's doing a great job at the moment. Now, we have got the sprints still to come, I'm sure. We'll see whether Hayden, if they come over this way, might be able to catch up with the likes of a Lauren Bruce or a Julia Ratcliffe. In fact, the running machine that he is may even try and jog down there. Great to be able to have Hayden down sideline doing the trackside, I should say, doing these interviews for us as we're getting prepared for the relay component. You just saw Natasha Eddy on your screen. So just confirmation, Lauren Bruce winning the women's hammer event, 73.22 with her final throw. Julia Ratcliffe, 71.39 with her second throw. And Nicole Bradley, who opened up with 60.54, she finishes third. As I say, it's a permanent event, so athletes will score ranking points in this one. As we're getting set for the 4x100 metres relays. Everyone is getting set. These coming through the first lot. Looks as though it's going to be a group of the students coming through. We've got teams coming up on our screen from Wanganui Collegiate, St Peter's College, Cambridge, Auckland Athletics, St Peter's School in Cambridge, 2 teams, and Waikato Diocesan School for Girls. So that Auckland Athletics team, I suspect, will be one to keep an eye on. See Isabel Neal. So just trying to gauge as to where everybody is. So 4x100 metres to finish off the Porritt Classic. An excellent day. Finished off there with the wonderful work by Lauren Bruce. We've seen Jack O'Gill get the best of Tom Walsh again. We've seen Dame Valerie Adams produce a lovely series of throws and feel very, very bullish and confident 3 weeks out from the Jenny and Holmes National Track and Field Championships. Seen Portia Bing set a New Zealand residence record and maybe just one hurdle away from really giving her own national mark a decent nudge. We've seen another wonderful 100 metres performance from Zoe Hobbs, Edward Osai Nketia, and Tian Velpton with another classic battle. Edward winning in 10.28, just outside the meeting record. Tian with a PB of 10.3. And so some really nice performances right throughout the day. Of course, building, you heard the reference there from Camille Buscombe and other athletes. We've got Sir Graham Douglas Memorial Meeting. There you see Hayden Shearman. He's getting ready for an interview with Lauren Bruce. That won't be too far away. In fact, he's giving me the wave right now. So let's go down to the winner of the women's hammer throw with a very impressive distance of 73.22. Here's Hayden Shearman with Lauren Bruce.
Thanks, guys. We're going to do this one on the walk because we're kind of on the way to the prize giving. So we're walking and talking. But Lauren Bruce, 73.22. How did you feel when that last bomb dropped? Were you thinking, oh, this could be a new national record?
I knew that I'd got on it a bit more than the other ones. Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be a little bit further, maybe like 74, but knew that it was further than all my other throws, but just wasn't sure how far.
Yeah, totally. And so it's been such a great summer for you. Well, going right back to the spring. What's sort of been the difference for you this season?
I guess after throwing 73 back in September, kind of just came in with a whole lot more confidence, I guess, knowing, firstly, like wanting to prove to myself that I was a 70 metre thrower. Having done that 73 kind of like one off, and previously my PB was 68, I still didn't really feel that I'd quite proven that, but I've done that now. I think this is the 8th comp in a row that I've thrown over 70, so well and truly done it now.
And we've worked out that's probably the number 2 time in New Zealand ever. And we were saying before coming on air, like take yourself back 2 years ago when you're throwing 10 metres less. That's just such an incredible progression, but also so good having these other ladies around you so close.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, obviously having Julia here today, I knew that I was going to have to bring it every single round, and even going into round 6, like, she was throwing ahead of me, and it was just like I could be going in there and she's past me, and I have to be able to pull it out of the bag. So it's good to have that, I guess, kind of pressure on for comps, especially like since we can't get overseas now. To have that kind of competition here is really special.
Cool. And talking about competitions, what's next up? Obviously there'll be nationals first weekend of March. Anything else in between there?
Yeah, so I'm off to Wellington next weekend, and then a weekend off, and then we'll be doing nationals, and then we're done for the season. So
nice. And hopefully we'll see you again in July, August over in Tokyo. Fingers crossed if all things come together.
Yeah, I imagine that will be the case, but you never know.
Yeah. Well done again for a huge performance, and looking forward to the next 2 meets for you girls to have another matchup.
Cool. Thank you very much.
And we'll try and pull in Julia here as well. I'll see if I can tap her on her shoulder. She's deep in the midst of a conversation. Sorry to interrupt. Can we go to a quick live interview if that's all right? So, mid-conversation. But Julia, I think I had you down at 71 something or 71.39. Thank you. Solid outing. And you're probably thinking another couple of metres would do me good.
Yeah, definitely. But hey, I had 2 throws over a 71 today, and so better than the last competition I did, which was 3 fouls. So just taking the wins as we go. Yeah. I had quite a few people take a few cracks at me. I'll remember which way to walk out of the circle this time, Julia. So, yeah.
Awesome. And how good is it to be back home on your home turf? Nigel up the top there has been calling it your house, and how's that home crowd been treating you?
Oh, it's awesome. I had heaps of different athletes from different sports that we train together at the Avanti Drome. So we had some rowers, some BMXers, some cyclists out here today. So it was awesome to kind of see those people that you train with but don't necessarily see in action come and support us. So that was so cool to have some signs out there and stuff. So lots of cool support today.
Yeah, and the weather's absolutely turned it on. So congratulations again, Julia. We'll be looking forward to another good matchup. But over to you guys for the last of this 4x1.
Thank you very much, Hayden and Julia Ratcliffe. Yeah, it's an amazing facility that they utilise out there at the Avanti Drome, and that they do talk a lot about the cross-pollination, and they get so empowered by all those different codes out there using the gym and being in and around each other. And again, that community that we've spoken about as we see the Auckland team. Actually, St. Peter's trying to finish this one off, but Auckland are going to run over the top of them. So Auckland Athletics get the victory there from St. Peter's College. I think it was Wanganui Collegiate coming through in lane number 3 before the second of the St. Peter's teams and Waikato Dio finishing it off down the outside. So, but yeah, again, we see that. We talk about all those different athletes and, again, the different ideas. We talk about different ways of doing things, watching what another athlete's doing, going, I wonder if could that work for me in my particular discipline. It's great to have that sort of environment in New Zealand sport.
And it happens in all of our high-performance centres. We get that, we in Christchurch, we have the cricket team here training with the basketball team, training with Tom Walsh, training with Val Adams. And the good thing is that they all get to see how top athletes approach what they do. It's not just what they do, it's how they approach it, the attitude that they have. They still enjoy it, they're still smiling and laughing, but that's the side of it is the big gain, I think.
You haven't had the Crusaders ask Tom Walsh if he can pack down on the tight head side of a scrum yet, have you?
It'd be too embarrassing for them, I think.
I'd like to see. I would quite like to see a Joe Moody, Cody Taylor, Tom Walsh front row.
We just need to find a hooker to go between Tom and Jacko.
Oh, I tell you what, Ryan Palmer. I think Ryan Ballantyne wouldn't mind. I'm sure Ryan would back himself in that particular position.
Yeah.
So coming up next, this is the next heat, and this is a New Zealand gold, New Zealand red, New Zealand blue, New Zealand black, and New Zealand white. So, I'm not sure. We haven't got the details as to whom is with whom, but thankfully we have got the wonderful Terry Lomax alongside us, providing the knowledge. He'll be able to tell us exactly who.
Team in lane 6 will be the New Zealand A team.
Okay.
That's the one that's starting off with Natasha Edie as the first runner. The next teams will be either the team outside them, what's that, New Zealand white, and then maybe the team in lane 3, which is New Zealand gold.
Well, that's Amy Robinson, very distinctive attire for Amy in lane number 3. So, saying, we were talking about earlier on the 4x100 metre relay options. Of course, New Zealand did have success at that. The University Games level just a couple of years ago, where they managed to win a bronze medal and broke the New Zealand record at the same time. They have also had victories. I think might be going back 12 months or so because of obviously what has happened with regards to COVID, but there was a great night where the New Zealand team defeated Australia in Australia as well. That might have been Canberra Classic, possibly, if memory serves, somewhere around there.
It was a Canberra Classic, that's right.
Yep, and that one there sort of caught the attention of Australia, quite rightfully so. So as we head over to the far side, and Terry just working his way through, looking at
seeing who's where.
Yep, who is where and trying to figure out.
So Zoe running 4. I think it's Simone Tafunai running 2, which leaves us with Georgia Hulls running 3.
Yep.
So that's 3/4 of the team that got that bronze medal.
So there we go. Inside we'll see Portia Bing having, as I said, got our day off to a cracking start with a New Zealand residence record going sub 56 for the 400 hurdles. And very close, just 0.15 of a second off her own national record on that particular mark. She'll be handed the baton on Amy Robertson, who's in lane number 3.
And Portia's an ideal athlete to have at number 2. That's a long leg. She's got the speed up, so start doesn't matter. She can get up to top pace. With those long legs of hers, she can cover the ground very effectively.
So here we go. Gold, red, blue, black and white. Those are the teams. Natasha Idiot is leading on the outside, and that's the team that Terry Lomax has identified as probably the number 1 team as they work their way through and down the back straight. As he said earlier on, when it comes to the baton change, give and receive. Do not try to take. So watch these baton changes take place around the outside. And this is a really good leg that's being run. Which holes it is. Some good speed coming. And so Zoe, she's got to stay inside the lane, perilously close to the white lines, but this is a really good finish by Zoe Hobbs, who herself was in very good form. Let's have a look at that time.
Mid 44, I would envisage a guess.
Right. Go and have just a reminder of the New Zealand record. If we can find that here for the 4x100, it's 44.2. That's Wilson, Hobbs, Hulls and Elliott. 44.72, so half a second outside of that. But that's not dilly-dallying, as they say. There's Zoe Hobbs, who ran an 11.39 earlier in the day, just 0.7 of a second outside Michelle Seymour's record.
And the time was lost in the exchanges. It wasn't lost in the running. They all ran fast. In the first exchange, the second run out, Simone never got up to a full pace by the time she'd been given the baton. And that's the adjustments that the coaches make in terms of when the athlete accelerates off, because we want the athlete who's running out to be at top speed when they get the baton. We don't then have to stop to receive the baton and then try and pick up speed again. So they are the little things which over 3 changes you can eat up half a second or you can lose half a second very easily.
Yeah, just outside. I just thought maybe it was at a New Zealand residence mark, but no, just outside of that. That was 44.6. That's not a bad quartet. Brunner, Arnott, Waddell. Just trying to see, it's just cut off the rest of it. That's the first 3 are pretty dang good.
I think
Who would it be?
I think it's Caro Willis.
Here we go. Gee, I'm enjoying having Terry Lomax providing the expert analysis. There's not a heck of a lot he doesn't know when it comes to this particular sport in New Zealand. I say that's
reflection of age more than wisdom.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Well, we've got the turn of the gentleman coming up very shortly. I have to admit, if you do just want to have a little bit of fun, go on the Athletics New Zealand website. Just scroll through all the different records that people have. I've said this before, I'll say it again. My favourite, 3rd of February 1962, 800-metre record in New Zealand still stands. 1.44, 1 minute 44.3 seconds. Christchurch grass. Yeah, you can talk about how
it's still a world-class performance.
It's unbelievable. I think I worked out it might have been which Olympics was it? 12 or 20? I think it would have still won in bronze.
Yep. No.
Just extraordinary. Just extraordinary. The other good thing to do, folks, by the way, look at some of the names in the New Zealand all-comers record as well. Those are good funds to have a look at too. Raylene Boyle in the 200 metres. Mary Decker in both the 1500 and the mile as well. Greta Vates, the great Greta Vates in the 300. Anne Ordain still in there though. We're talking about Sally Gunnell earlier too. Kate McElroy in the steeplechase. Jane Fleming in the long jump. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Just, if you want, another good one there, by the way, in terms of all-comers is the men's 1500 metres all-comers record from what is still just arguably one of the greatest 1500 metres races ever for those people. Yes, young people, we're showing our age, but if you haven't watched the final of the Commonwealth Games 1500 metres 1974 Christchurch, do yourself a favour. Go watch it, Google it, YouTube it. One of the greatest races ever.
I was
ever.
lucky enough to attend that race.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
That was phenomenal.
Filbert Bayi in his absolute pomp. Walker on the ascendancy but with no answer. Goodness gracious me. First five all under the existing world record at the time.
Probably.
I think I remember seeing there's a wonderful version or oral history of it which was done by the New Zealand Herald a while ago, and it was absolutely superb. Just they got a hold of everybody, just everybody. As we see the prize giving here for the 200 metres for women. You see there Georgia Hulls, Zoe Hobbs and Natasha Eadie. And so we will no doubt see those three ladies in action. A reminder,
and
3 weeks away from
one of those competitors in that
champs.
1500 race, Rod Dixon, presented the New Zealand Mile medals at Cook's
Gardens.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yes, the place where champions become legends. Cook's Gardens, Wanganui. Wonderful spot. You talk about being there for that race in '74. My father was there for the world mile, for that world mile mark that they set, and I think that was only a matter of around about a week prior. I think there was Snell and the likes of Herb Elliott might have been there possibly as well. My father telling me he was there, remembering it.
Yeah, I think it was the Rothman series in those days.
Yes. Oh, the irony.
Yes. Yes. Well, Peter Snell was employed by them.
Yes. Well, goodness gracious me.
Hard to believe.
And as we say, we're talking about wonderful moments here we see. Shout out to our Athletics New Zealand volunteers. You see them there in the green tops. They're doing a great job as per normal. This is just a 4x100 metre for the schools at St Peter's, which will be in lane number 4, and the Hamilton City Hawks. It's in lane number 5. There's Kurt Sweeney. He's had himself a pretty good day. A few people having completed what's been a very enjoyable day. Started quite early. They couldn't get the 5,000 metre races done last night, so 10 o'clock this morning they were in action with that. And we're away. And then it'll be other athletes to go. So St Peter's in lane number 4 on the inside. The Hamilton City Hawks Club. There you go. Baton changing away. Working down that far side. So at the moment, St Peter's with a slight advantage. Baton change. That's a great bend. It's being run. Now it's a straight sprint race. A member of Wanganui Collegiate representing St Peter's School in Cambridge, but it's going to be the Hawks that are going to get the job done here. That's a good race. And what are we looking at there? That would be around the 40-odd mark. So I think that could be us done and dusted. No of the senior men's going for a relay run. So as we have a look, that is us done for the day for the Porritt Classic of 2021. Just before I let him go, Terry, overall, as I say, we're 3 weeks out, and remind you once again, Jenny and Holmes New Zealand Track and Field Championships in Hastings. That's coming up from the 5th to the 7th. Sky Sport Next will be covering that over the course of all 3 days. Most of these athletes, would they be reasonably happy? Maybe bar one exception with the way that they are trending at the moment, 3 weeks out from a Nationals?
I think things are brewing up very well for two more competition opportunities prior to Nationals. They'll be looking to put the fine-tuning in place. We've seen today the level of consistency of our top athletes. They may not have hit the big marks, but they've been consistent across the board. 6 solid rounds in the throws, personal bests in the sprints, personal best in the middle distance race. We've had some very good competition here, and I think it's hotting up for a very high-class national championship. So I think it has the potential to be one of the best ones we've had for quite some time. My thanks to Terry Lomax for providing his expert analysis throughout the day. My thanks as well to Hayden Shearman. It's been good fun, Hayden. I don't know if you've got the microphone still turned on, but that's been really good, and some great interviews, and interesting, as I say, to hear those, some of the energy that's coming out of those athletes, and it really does sense as though something big is building.
Yeah, absolutely, and like Terry's saying, this is building up to be an all-time national champs in March, and it is the fact that having so many athletes bound to New Zealand due to COVID travel restrictions is just this big blessing in disguise that we're seeing week after week. Massive performances go down, and I've got to do a big shout out to all the officials and all the people behind the scenes running athletics around the country, because there's a lot of work that goes into. You can see this small army packing up this ground here. So thank you to all those people who are involved to make athletics happen over the summer, and what a summer we're having.
Our thanks also as well to our wonderful production crew from the Stream Shop, headed by Daniel and Helen, our outstanding cameramen out there all the way around. Thank you for your company here on Sky Sport Next. Remember, still got some great track and field still to come. So Graham Douglas not too far away, but of course we are building up. All eyes, 5th to the 7th in Hastings of March. It is the Jenny and Holmes New Zealand Track and Field Championship. On behalf of the Stream Shop team, on behalf of Hayden, Terry, Nigel Yolden, wishing you a very good evening from Hamilton.
Live on Sky Sport Next, the 2021 Jenny and Holmes New Zealand Track and Field Championships from the 5th to the 7th of March at Mitre Sports Park, Hawke's Bay. See our world-class stars like Tom Walsh, Dame Valerie Adams, Zoe Hobbs, and more at the last major athletics meet of the summer, the 2021 Jenny and Holmes New Zealand Track and Field Championships, bringing the best to the Bay. Proudly brought to you by Jenny and Holmes, Hastings District Council, Napier City Council, and Aon.
We can't wait to see you
at the 2021 Nationals in the Hawke's Bay.